Football Queensland's coverage is brought to you by IFCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au. Play football. Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au to find your nearest club. Football Foundation, making football more accessible for every income, every gender, every ability, every background, every Indigenous Queenslander. Donate today.
Good ball, near post again for Solorzano this time.
It's a bit of ping pong, it's ball for Edgar. Edgar shoots, Edgar scores.
Second bite of the cherry with another cross, pretty much into the same area. And the ball has crossed the net.
That looked really awkward for the goalkeeper.
He's away to the races, he shoots, he scores, another piece of the finish from Lockdown.
Well, it was a fixture that caused supporters around the state to draw in breath and take stock when it was pulled out the pot at Football Queensland HQ earlier this month. Two of the National Premier League's Queensland's heavyweights thrown together for a tilt at FFA Cup glory. It's a stunning evening here at the Croatian Sports Centre in Carrara on the beautiful Gold Coast. And we're looking forward to bringing you all the FFA Cup action as Gold Coast Knights host Peninsula Power, third versus first in the National Premier League's Queensland, in what is the sixth qualification round of the FFA Cup. And the winner of this will play for the right to host Strikers in the next round, which is, of course, just one step from the national stage. Simon Smale on the call this evening here at a Croatian Sports Centre that's developing a healthy crowd over the last few minutes as we approach kick-off. And the home supporters here will be hoping for nothing less than a home victory and a return to the round of 32 for the second successive season for the Knights. Well, their opponents this evening, Peninsula Power, they can no longer add the prefix of unbeaten to their name after last weekend's defeat against Lions, but they will still make the trip down the M1 with dreams of FFA Cup glory, and hoping to emulate the squad of 2017, who gave such a good account of themselves against Melbourne City at Dolphin Stadium in the round of 32. So two teams with national experience in this competition. We are just a stone's throw away from where so many dreams were made during the 2018 Commonwealth Games, Carrara Stadium, just 500 metres or so down the road. Alongside me to find out which team will have their own dreams of glory fulfilled tonight is Andy Allen. Good evening, Allen. Andy, massive contest tonight. What can we expect from the two teams here on what is just a magnificent, huge evening for football in the state?
Definitely, I think it's going to be an absolutely cracking game, and like we've spoken in the bit of lead up to it, that we're both really excited for this scorcher that they're going to put on for us on a Friday night. So I think we can expect some end-to-end stuff. It's cup football at the end of the day. If a team goes down, they're going to want to make it up and get another goal. So I can expect that we're going to have some end-to-end stuff here, and what we can hope for an exciting game is an early goal. Probably not what one of the opposing teams is hoping for, but we definitely can.
Early goals do make these contests that little bit more exciting. It can absolutely destroy the contest as well, though, if a team gets a run on, and we saw that with Peninsula Power last year when they took on Lions with dreams of emulating that side from 2017, but made around the 32, and they just got a little bit shell-shocked, to be honest, losing 6-0 on the night, and that was a bit of a shock, I think, for all of us at the in the competition, because Peninsula Power were unbeaten at that point. In fact, their unbeaten run only came to an end in the regular season, this is, last weekend. can you believe it, at the hands of Lions, who have been perennial thorns in the Powers' side over the last couple of seasons. It was a 46-game unbeaten run. It started on June the 3rd, 2017, when Peninsula Power was still in the Brisbane Premier League. They lost to Grange Thistle at Lanham Park 3-2. And from that point on, they went on a bit of a run. 46 games, 44 wins, only 2 draws, once against Albany Creek and one against Logan, both 1-1. 171 goals in that run at the cost of just 33. And that was just the regular season. If you include finals and cup football as well, then they won 10 of 13. So they did suffer 3 defeats. Twice to Lions, as we've already mentioned, once in the BPL final in 2017 and once in that 2018 FFA Cup. And once in the round of 32 of this competition against Melbourne City. So, and it was a game that Peninsula Power put such a great performance together. They lost by 2-0, but it was only injury time goals for Stefan Malk and Bruno Fornaroli in each half that actually cost Peninsula Power a shot at extra time and then perhaps even penalties. But it was a wonderful occasion in front of 4,000 people up there at Dolphin Stadium in Redcliffe, and Peninsula Power really came into themselves that season. They grew into themselves last year, going unbeaten in the Football Queensland Premier League. Now they're atop the table in the National Premier League Queensland, and they'll be looking for another cup run.
Oh, 100%. I can't believe how well they've quite done with the step up as well, and they've got a fit squad. They're still looking good even in the middle part of the season now, and with the FFA coming into play, it's tricky.
Should be mentioning, of course, that Gold Coast Knights are no strangers to the round of 32. We mentioned that they made it there last season. They fell 1-0 to A-League side Newcastle Jets, and Newcastle Jets, Nico Topor-Stanley goal at Seabus Super Stadium just down the road in Robina, 2,222 down there. And Gray Piddock, he's a manager that has plenty of experience in the FFA Cup. He led the Gold Coast City side, the now defunct Gold Coast City side, in 2017, all the way to the quarter-finals, where unfortunately they were dismantled by a very strong South Melbourne side by 6-0 down at the same Gold Coast Robina Stadium. We'll just quickly run you through the teams before they make their way onto the field, and we'll thank the team sponsors for tonight. Gold Coast Knights would like to thank the Croatian Sports Centre and Football Gold Coast for getting their team on the pitch every single week. And Peninsula Power, Riot International Freight and Furnex Commercial Furniture are the people they would like to thank. Gold Coast Knights will line up as so. Tim Allen will be in goal. He wears the number 20 shirt. In front of him, number 3, Oscar Dillon. Number 6, Roman Hoffman. Number 9, Sam Smith, the captain. Number 10, Max Brown. Number 11, the exciting Jaden Prasad. Keep your eye open for him in that number 11 shirt. Number 12, Adam Ndian. Number 13, a red-hot Jared Kyle, who scored in each of his last 6 games. Number 16, Mitch Nichols, former A-League star, of course, with the Raw, Victory, Perth Glory and Wellington Phoenix. Matt Schmidt wears the number 23 shirt, and Luke Austin will wear the number 26. Peninsula Power, they will line up with Jake Reesby in goal. In front of him, Dan Kuna. Number 5, Chris Janchevsky. Number 7, Dean Briggs, making a miraculous return to the side. Number 8, Josh Woolley. Number 9, Brenton Fox. Number 10, Tom Strickland. Number 11, Richard Hurlin. Number 15, Sam Roper. Number 16, Luke Plummer. And number 17, James Fairgrieve. The coaches, as we've already mentioned, for Gold Coast Knights, Gray Piddock, and for Peninsula Power, Aaron Phillip. We will mention the third team as well, our Total Tools match officials. Martin Herstov will be the man in the middle, and assisting him on the flanks will be Renee Coghill and Talila Schofield. Andy, matches like this, the tension starts to build when you're awaiting kick-off, and it's just an exciting moment for the fans as well as for players. This is do or die, isn't it? Cup football is different. It's a different beast. Oh,
100%. It brings a different atmosphere when you're playing cup football. It's not the same as just playing week in, week out in your regular league. It's so exciting, and we can see that with the fans that are turning up now. We heard a bit of singing earlier on. That was all exciting, and they're getting ready to walk out now. And I tell you what, I'm excited for this one. I know you are too, but it's going to be a cracker.
Cracking weekend of football on the Gold Coast. IFCA is Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference. It's happening this weekend right here on the Gold Coast. Lots of exciting speakers, and you'll have to keep track of the IFCA social media and Football Queensland social media indeed for all the action from the weekend, because exciting news, it has sold out.
It has, and I've been there today at the centre, and it's looking fantastic. A few of the speakers were coming in, and I was getting excited for it, in honesty. So it's going to be a cracker, so make sure you do keep tuned onto the social medias and keep your eyes peeled for little sneak peeks of the speakers.
ifca.com.au is the website for all your needs regarding to the International Football Coaching Conference. We will get things underway because the players are just about ready. Just a reminder that we do have matches taking place all around the state, and it's not just the southeast corner where we're focusing our attention. The northern sections of this vast state will also be playing for a spot in the round of 32. We have our round 6 fixtures all set up after Magpies Crusaders won through to take on the Rockhampton Bluebirds. The winner of that tie will host the winner of the North Queensland and Far North Queensland zone, which is Brothers from Townsville and Leichhardt up there in and around Cairns. So lots of exciting football to come from around the state, and I mean it's a unique situation in Queensland, really, isn't it, Andy? Because we've got such a vast area, we've got all these different areas. It's changed in Queensland in the southeast corner. We'll perhaps run through that over the course of the evening, but in the northern areas, because of the distances involved, it's just impossible to have a competition where we don't have just a one big pot. So very exciting to see.
Unbelievable, mate. I can't believe how big this state truly is. Both of us are obviously from England, and we've got a small little country, but this one is massive, and looking forward to it.
Run you quickly through the South East Queensland pathway in a moment, but the teams are making their way onto the field, led by our Total Tools referee, Martin Hurstov. A big night for him. It's just as nerve-wracking for the officials, I guess, as the players, but the players seem pretty relaxed. Tim Allen talking with his opposite number, Jake Reesby, either engaging in some sort of mind games, but knowing Tim Allen as I do, I don't think that'll be the case. More just having a chat. He does like a chat, Tim. Training to be a paramedic, actually, so fascinating backstory, Tim, and he looks like he's enjoying his time out there, waving with the young mascots in the red shirts. It's the Gold Coast in the white, who are the home side, and Peninsula Power in their change strip of red. So reds against the whites. Familiar colours down here at the Croatian Sports Centre, it has to be said, but I'm sure they won't be doing any home favours to the visitors tonight.
No, definitely not. And I tell you what, it's interesting to see how relaxed they are. But it's also a big night for the mascots as well, getting to run out with their local heroes, as we like to say. So fantastic efforts for Gold Coast Knights for supplying them to the teams as well.
It's a phrase that gets bandied around quite a lot, but the magic of the cup really is in evidence, and we talking from an English perspective how the magic is perhaps becoming slightly dulled in the FA Cup in England. Really in Australian football it's just been embraced by everybody, and it's something that I think everybody from grassroots all the way up to the top has really wanted to be a part of, and you can see that in the way that the whole football community has embraced it.
100%. Everyone's got behind it, which is fantastic. It's so fresh, it's so new to the Australian culture of football, and it's fantastic, especially for clubs like Gold Coast Knights with the heritage of the Croatians as well. So they do come from that European background, so it's fantastic to see and be a part of.
Did mention that the setup for qualification in the southeast corner has changed somewhat. The Gold Coast has traditionally always had a representative in the national stage, and by virtue of the fact that Brisbane was separate, Brisbane provided 2 qualifiers. Gold Coast, Southwest Queensland and the Sunshine Coast provided another one, and it was the Gold Coast teams that have come out on top over the past couple of seasons. And then we've already spoken about the North regional area, but it is interesting this season, all those 4 areas have all come together: the Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Football Brisbane and Southwest Queensland, and it's created some fantastic ties. This, of course, being a Queensland tie, both teams playing in the National Premier League, but nevertheless it is still that Brisbane versus Gold Coast type sort of environment, and it just adds something, doesn't it, when you've got that intra-zone contest?
Oh, 100%. It's a little bit of a local rivalry again, isn't it? But 50 minutes to an hour down the road. But no, this is going to be a cracker, and we're about to get going.
It is the hosts, Gold Coast Knights, in the white shirts who get us underway. Mitch Nichols was the man in the number 16 jersey who did the honours, and Gold Coast on the back foot straight away, but the ball is hammered forward. Nichols lets the ball do the work and then leaves it for his captain Sam Smith, who gets a little bit of rough treatment from Dan Cooner, but he won't worry about that, Sam Smith. He's a player who gives as good as he gets, and when you are the physical size that he is, that can become quite clear. Lovely little touch through by Nichols early on the edge of the area, but none of his teammates managed to read it, and the ball is at the feet of Jake Reesby. And it'll be interesting to see, Andy, just how these two teams set up and whether they do go full gas right from the off, or whether they're going to just feel each other out a little bit in these opening stages.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. And I'll tell you what, a player that I think we'll all have our eyes on today is Mitch Nichols. I think, obviously, being an A-League player, his brain will work a bit quicker. So let's see how he comes into the game as well.
He feeds Jared Carl, who is dispossessed. It'll fall at the feet of Roman Hoffman, though. Hoffman, who was involved in the setup at Newcastle. His pass is wayward, and Tom Strickland can't do much with that. So it will be Gold Coast who retain possession. They go all the way back now, and it'll be up to Hoffman to try and orchestrate things from the centre of the field. He just gets his lines a little wrong there, and Nichols had made the run. Kyle can't cut it out, and Peninsula Power will come now through Briggs. Briggs just playing in just his third game of the season after damaging his MCL in pre-season. So good result for Peninsula Power, really, for him to come back into the side.
Especially for a big game like this, it's really important. I watched him in the FQPL final last year, and he was just on fire, scoring a couple of goals and really above the mark there. So it's good to see him back fit and playing football, because injuries can really sacrifice some players.
He scored 2 goals on his return. Was that a hand from Brenton Fox? It was, and Fox is a player who I've enjoyed watching this season in the National Premier League's Queensland. He was a real live wire for Moreton Bay United, perhaps not used in the right way by Puria Nabi. Based on what we've seen this season anyway, he's been given much more of a free role up front by Aaron Phillip at Peninsula Power, and he's just relishing that role. He's been fantastic, scored 8 goals so far this season. Really refinding the form that saw him win the Player of the Season in the Sunshine Coast competition in 2015, when he scored 29 goals in 20 games for Caboolture. So he's a player who does know where the back of the net is. He's got incredibly fast feet, and he's just got skills coming out of everywhere. So it's really impressive to see him do so well, and he's also deadly from a set piece as well. So we'll have to keep our eyes on him. For those of you unfamiliar with football in Queensland, he's wearing the number 9 jersey up top for Peninsula Power, giving chase here, although he has checked that run, and Gold Coast will build once more from the back.
It's a heavy touch there.
Sloppy pass, but they get away with it to the hosts, and found its way through to Matt Schmidt, and now some neat footwork from Max Brown. Brown tried to thread the needle towards Jaden Prasad, and the longer Jaden Prasad is out of the game as far as Peninsula Power are concerned, the better, because he's a real live wire. We saw that in our Football Queensland Game of the Week just a fortnight ago, when he really did bring the game to Olympic in that dramatic 3-3 draw. One of the best games of the season that I've seen, certainly. There's been plenty of good games in the National Premier League Queensland, has to be said. You'll be able to watch all of them on the live stream of Football Queensland, so it has been fantastic. And was Fox pulled back there? I mean, he certainly made motions that he was. No foul, says our Total Tools referee.
I think it's interesting to watch how the officials play it out in a big tie like this so early on. Do they call it? Do they call everything, or do they play it a bit more free? I always like seeing how they go with big games like this, because every ref handles it differently.
It's always a risk, isn't it? When you do let some things go early, then they start to let more go, and then you start thinking, oh, should I have let that go? I let that go earlier. Is that repeated infringement? And it does start to put referees in a bit of a hole, but that was a decision of Martin Herstov, and I think he possibly made the right one. There didn't seem to be too many arguments from Brenton Fox, despite the quite dramatic way that he withdrew from that challenge. But it is with Peninsula Power now, the ball, and Sam Roper goes crossfield, and a little bit of space over on that far side. Roper wants the ball back. He'll poke it through towards Kuna, but it's awkward, and this is the space that Jaden Prasad relishes. He's going to race into the edge of the area. Oh, that's an ambitious slide from Kuna. Oh. And Peninsula Power really got away with that one there. I'm not sure what Dan Kuna was thinking there. He slid in from a long way out on this slightly damp surface. You'd have to say due to the dew, because there's been no rain in the southeast corner today, not in this part that I've seen anyway.
No, definitely. I think that's a tackle. If you're going in for it, you've got to win the ball. You're in the box. You do not want to be giving away a penalty, not so early on in a game either. And I wouldn't, if I was the coach, I wouldn't be too happy with that one.
Has been sent off in the National Premier League Queensland this season, has Dan Kuna, and it was at the match that was match of the round back in round 2 at Heath Park against East, although it wasn't a challenge that caused him to receive his marching orders. It was a little bit of a melee caused by a challenge from one of the opponents he was facing. It sparked something of a brawl, but less said about that the better. Here is Peninsula Power on the attack with Woolley. Woolley goes all the way back, and he'll receive the ball again. Vernon continued his run. Ball's gone all the way to the back post and Fairgrieve. Fairgrieve can only find the side netting when a more delicate chip across the face towards Brenton Fox, who was arriving at the back post, might have been better served. Indeed, Tom Strickland was there as well. Tom Strickland, who did score last week in the defeat against Lions. 2-1 the score up there at AJ Kelly Park. A decent encounter again, and you just wonder how Peninsula Power are going to react to losing that unbeaten run in the league. It's a tough thing. There were a couple of games over the course of the piece in the National Premier League Queensland where you felt that Peninsula Power were getting over the line purely because they've forgotten how to lose. They were just able to pull games out of the fire on so many occasions, but once that bubble's been burst, it changes things somewhat, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond tonight.
It does, and to be honest, it's going to be a massive mental battle for them to see how they pull through it and how they go. Mentally, it'll be tough on the players. They've come from a loss. Can they pull back? The coach will be asking big things from them, and obviously you don't want to lose in a tie that could get you facing an A-League opposition.
Nice move there from Max Brown. Brown's going to race in towards a more dangerous position. He finds his teammate Nichols. Nichols goes wide to Kyle. Nichols continued his run, but Kyle goes back, and now it's Hoffman in the central position. Brown loops that one up towards Nichols. Nichols can't control it first time, then goes down. No foul, says our Total Tools referee. He's letting a couple of things go, as we've seen in the opening stages. It looked like there wasn't too much contact on Nichols, trying to use his experience that saw him play 226 A-League games. Perhaps one that he was trying to con the referee with there.
I think so. We'll leave it at that. I don't think that was a foul, but it's a difficult one for us to see again. But no, I think he was trying to play that one off.
Healthy crowd gathering here in Carrara for this one. They've come in late, but they have arrived. We hope you're enjoying the live stream. Simon Samal and Andy Allen on the call for you for Football Queensland. It's the FFA Cup clash between Gold Coast Knights and Peninsula Power. Just over 7.5 minutes gone. It is still goalless here, but both sides pressing and probing, and it's the hosts who are doing so now. Here's Prasad linking up well with Schmidt. Prasad into the edge of the penalty area. He's cut off though, and now will be the turn of the visitors in the red, Peninsula Power, to launch a counter-attack of their own. Too far ahead of Strickland though, comfortably mopped up by Oscar Dillon. He goes back to Tim Allen.
Yeah, that was it was looking exciting, the attack, but unfortunately just they swarmed on there, didn't they, Power? They defended in numbers.
Lovely touch from Sam Smith. It needed a touch from a defender. Inadvertent, says the referee, because it went back off Luke Plummer towards Jake Reesby, but it needed to be by Plummer, because otherwise Sam Smith was returning that ball brilliantly, and just the strength of Sam Smith. He's a former Golden Boot winner in the National Premier League's Queensland. He scored 22 goals in 22 games for Gold Coast City in 2017. Just used all his strength there as Carl goes to ground. Free kick is given on this occasion, and I think that was the right call.
Yeah, I think so. He's come through the back of him there, hasn't he? And unfortunately, you just can't do that. So let's see how they set up, how they go about it. Are they going to do a nice short one? Or there we go.
These two teams can be combative on occasions. Gold Coast Knights, we saw that in our match of the round. They're not above giving away the odd cynical free kick, I think it's fair to say, but Peninsula Power certainly cut of a similar cloth on occasions. We saw that in the match against Sunshine Coast, but Sunshine Coast made a very good account of themselves but were unable to get over the line in the end. One of those games that I was talking about before, where it just felt that Peninsula Power were never going to lose because they'd just forgotten how to. They have been since reminded of that, though, by Lions last weekend, and it'll be up to Gold Coast Knights to perhaps hammer the points home.
Yeah, definitely. They're at home as well. They're playing at home. You know how that advantage goes for teams these days. Are they just checking the ball here to check if it's all right? Or maybe they're having some complaints out there from the players.
Just taking a little bit of time out off the clock and just letting everyone catch their breath. It's been not overly intense in the opening stages, but nevertheless, sometimes it's always good to take stock of where you are. 10 minutes gone in this one. Gold Coast Knights 0, Peninsula Power 0. FFA Cup 6th qualification round from Football Queensland, the southeast zone of qualification. And here's an opportunity.
That's a great
forward.
ball.
It's a really nice ball, and opportunity for Prasad. Prasad, that's a really good tackle, but Prasad's going to come up with it, and it is a free kick in the end to Gold Coast Knights.
I feel like that's harsh. He said it's a handball, Total Tools referee, but I feel like that was a tad harsh there, because that was a fantastic tackle to stop that run. But, Mitch Nichols, we've seen him in the A-League with a few set plays, so maybe he can pull a rabbit out of the hat here.
Sam Smith and Jared Carl, both large human beings, just standing just to the right of the penalty spot. They're joined by Oscar Dillon. Land of the Giants in the Peninsula Power penalty area at the moment. Nichols
There's a bit of a tug of war in there.
To deliver this towards the back post. It was Carl who got up, but he completely misjudged his jump, and in the end it was a disappointing way for that move to finish. But there was lots of intricate movement from the Gold Coast Knights on that occasion from the set piece, and that's something that Peninsula Power are going to have to really look out for.
Yeah, it was a free header. It was a free header. You've got to be asking more of your attackers there. We want that in the back of the net. Imagine what that would have done for the game, especially being 11 minutes in. So that's a really missed golden opportunity there.
Nice turn from Briggs. He is penalised, and we're going to see our first yellow card of the game, I think. It's an early one in this FFA Cup clash.
Do you think that's the referee just making his mark? They're saying, cut it out now, guys.
Well, we want the referees to allow flowing football, and when you're stopping flowing football by pulling people back, then that's exactly what we want to stop seeing. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that, even though it is early doors in this match.
Yeah, definitely. If it's a foul that's worth being penalised, you've got to do it, right? And fair play to the referee in that occasion.
Land of the Giants in the Peninsula Power penalty area a few moments ago. It's just exactly the same case here, but they go short to Peninsula Power, to Roper. Roper on the overlap, crossed in towards a penalty area. It's headed clear by Oscar Dillon, and now will Gold Coast Knights manage to break. Jaden Prasad goes back. Hoffman, blind alley, but he manages to escape. Hoffman will look to pull the strings here. Back inside to Mitch Nichols. Neat football from Nichols, and now a little bit of space opening up all of a sudden. Lovely football to Prasad over on this near side. Prasad stings the keeper of Reesby.
I tell you what, that was a fantastic combination play, all the way from the back, all the way to get a shot on goal. If that went in, that would have been a brilliant, brilliant goal.
Peninsula Power looking to break now over on that far side. It's well cut out by Adam Dean, who was the man who was penalised and shown the yellow card, the first yellow card of this match. He's one of the few players on the Gold Coast Knights side not to have received a yellow card in the league so far this season, as Brown links up with Prasad, and it's cut out though. Mitch Nichols does well, and Nichols managed to get enough of a foot on that to cause the turnover. Here is once again Roman Hoffman. And Dean won a championship with Western Pride in 2017. Part of the team that beat Gold Coast City down here on the Gold Coast. Prasad's pass was weak. Smith had made the run. And it's Gold Coast Knights who are asking all the questions in these early stages, just coming up to 15 minutes gone, and it is still goalless, but you just get a sense that Knights are enjoying the lion's share of possession so far. Love a nice touch from Mitch Nichols. Goes back to Schmidt. Schmidt goes all the way back to his keeper, Tim Allen, and Gold Coast Knights will look to switch play, or perhaps they won't. Here's Luke Austin.
Looking very comfortable on the ball, aren't they? Just as I say that, commentator's curse, isn't it? But looking very comfortable when possession.
Woolley did well there, because otherwise Mitch Nichols was in an acre of space, and he doesn't need that much in order to affect some serious damage. Space over on that far side now for Hurlin. Hurlin crosses the ball deep. It was challenged by Fox on Allen. Allen's going to get up on Fox, and Fox is just going to try and make a nuisance of himself. Tim Allen far too experienced to get embroiled in too much push and shove, but he just let Brenton Fox know that he's not going to be pushed around, did Tim Allen there, and it was a good take from the tall keeper.
Oh, it was fantastic, and he's managed to hold the ball even though getting tackled.
Sam Smith wins a free kick there, just to interrupt you, Andy. It was an interesting decision because Janchevsky went back, and we've seen the strength of Smith, and this is the problem that he causes defenders, because he does hold people and then he uses his weight to push back against people, and all of a sudden there's all sorts of space here for Matt Schmidt to use. Prasad's going to go up against Fairgrieve. Prasad doesn't quite get the better of Fairgrieve on that occasion, but it's still there for Gold Coast Knights. Here's Mitch Nichols. Nichols goes all the way back to Hoffman. Nichols wants it back. He gets it back. Prasad's ahead of him. Lovely touch from Mitch Nichols. Excellent return ball from Prasad. Nichols up against it in the corner though. He looks for an outlet ball. Lovely pass inside to Prasad. Prasad may well shoot here. He crosses all the way to the far side, and it's blocked at source. The shot came from Adam Dean. Has scored 2 already this season. It's been 10 games since he has scored in league competition, that is. He hasn't scored in either of the 2 cup games either. So it has been a bit of a drought from Adam Dean after a bright start in his Gold Coast Knights career. But here's an opportunity now for Peninsula Power. Unfortunately, that ball was a little bit too far ahead of Brenton Fox, and Knights will clear. Hoffman going all the way back now, and the ball was at the feet of Matt Schmidt. That just shows how Peninsula Power can spring the counter-attack so quickly, and with Fox up front on his own like that, he's such a tricky player, and he does have speed. He can latch onto those balls and cause the Knights' defence all sorts of problems.
Oh, 100%, and it's good to see, obviously, Tim Allen using his experience there and sweeping up at the back. That's what you want from your keeper now, but no, that's definitely a pivotal part.
Lovely pass by Nichols. Prasad is offside though. Must have been tight, because Prasad cast a furtive glance over to Renee Coghill, I think it is, over on that far side, our Total Tools assistant. It is a good call from our assistant over on that far side, right on the spot. And Nichols and Prasad just engaging in a little bit of conversation now, perhaps suggesting that there should be a little bit more dummying Mitch Nichols. But what an opportunity for these young players who are very accomplished in their own right, but to have Mitch Nichols, player who has played so many top flight games in this country and overseas in Asia, of course, it's such a good opportunity for these players to learn from someone who has been there and has done it, and that's really what this competition needs. Lovely from Nichols, although nobody read his dummy. He's back there to mop up though at the back. He's back on the ball now. He's everywhere, Mitch Nichols, in these early stages. Here's Sam Smith. Cuts back inside the Englishman, and that's a poor pass. Hoffman wasn't expecting it. An opportunity here for Josh Woolley. What can Woolley do? He has Briggs on the outside. He belatedly feeds him and then drops off. Briggs, using his fancy feet, stings the palms of Allen, who fumbled it just a tad, and Brenton Fox almost pounced. Allen managed to gather, though.
He was quick onto that, wasn't he? But, I mean, we'll go back to Mitch Nichols. He's looking absolutely class, isn't he, in the first opening 18 or 19 minutes or so. So it's looking like he might be able to weave some magic.
That's what we want to see in the National Premier League Queensland, and of course in the FFA Cup. It is a competition that lends itself to magic. There's a few big signings around the country, though, at National Premier League's level, with Brenton Santalab of Peninsula fame, of course, and Carl Valeri, of course. A bit harsh to summarise a fantastic career for Brenton Santalab from one ill-advised penalty kick, but nevertheless that will be his curse as Nichols puts a deep cross in. It's comfortably gathered by Reesby, but Santalab, along with Carl Valeri, have signed for Dandenong City, I've just seen recently, down in Victoria. They're involved in a bit of a relegation fight, and he'll be straight into the squad to face Avondale, a recently retired star from the A-League, and he'll be plying his wares in front of Mark Rudin as ball comes in from Fox. It's a really good pass from Fox. The touch from Strickland, a little bit heavy, still gains possession though does Strickland. He'll go all the way back to Fairgrieve. Fairgrieve back inside to Strickland. Strickland tries to feed Fox. Fox twists, turns, doesn't quite get the ball away. Over to the far side of Woolley. We have the opening goal here, and it's Peninsula power. Gold Coast Knights aren't happy about something. Nevertheless, the goal stands, and we have the opening goal here from the visitors. Peninsula Power 1, Gold Coast Knights 0.
Wow, that was very well composed, wasn't it, from Peninsula Power, going into the box and not showing any signs of nerves there. Brilliant finish as well. I don't know what Gold Coast Knights are complaining about here, but that was a well-worked goal, all in all. But it's against the run of the play, I believe.
I think that you're more than fair in saying that, although maybe the questions are about the ball, because Tim Allen is fuming in the Gold Coast Knights goal. He had an extended conversation with Martin Herstov, and in fact we are going to need more balls all round, I think, because Herstov's not happy with another ball. It's something that Gold Coast Knights need to address, but as the home team, they supply the balls, so they can only be blaming themselves.
Definitely, and we can't play a game of football without football, can we? So
it is a little bit difficult.
I think it's a bit harsh, though, to complain and say the goal was because of the ball. Look, it was a fantastic, well-worked goal from Penn Power, and they've done well.
Maybe there was movement in the build-up. We'll have to look back. You can, of course, look back on YouTube, Football Queensland's YouTube offerings. Plentiful this season. Every single National Premier League Queensland game is live streamed. You can listen to the commentary on the match of the round every week as well. And then we do have a commentated game of a round in the National Premier League's women's competition and the Football Queensland Premier League, as Fox drifts one in towards the back post and Briggs heads it back across goal. Oscar Dillon's on hand to head that ball clear. It's gone straight up in the air. Strickland will challenge. It's headed away. Kyle makes a really awkward jump and lands very painfully. It looks like he's going to be okay. Martin Herstov straight in on the action to tell the trainers from Gold Coast Knights not to come onto the field, and Carl gets straight back up off the field, and Allen takes the free kick quickly before Carl can even get back onto his feet. A free kick was given. It kind of looked like Carl just jumped a little bit awkwardly, though, in an attempt to get his head onto that ball.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if that was if it was a free kick, really. I mean, obviously it was the referee gave it, but it didn't seem like it was anything nasty.
It wasn't vindictive. I think perhaps he was put in an awkward position. He does look to be limping a little bit, does Jared Kyle, over on that far side of the field as Peninsula Power take the throw in. It's Josh Woolley going up against Schmidt here, and he wins a corner for his side. Peninsula Power suddenly turning on the pressure here in this FFA Cup 6th qualification round clash. Midway through the first half now, it is Peninsula Power leading by 1-0. If you have just joined us, you've just missed the opening goal. Josh Woolley stroking home very composedly after a little bit of a mix-up at the back from Gold Coast Knights. It was against the run of play. Knights have been better in these opening stages, but that won't offer solace to the home support.
No, it's going to be interesting now because the game will open up, because obviously we've got Gold Coast Knights who have been on top, but Power are enjoying the ball now and enjoying attacking at their goal. So let's see what pans out for the rest of the half, but Gold Coast Knights I expect to get a couple more opportunities.
A couple of decisions going their way as well. Roman Hoffman, the guilty party on that occasion. He concedes the free kick, which Richard Hurlin, the Welshman, 34-year-old, former Cardiff City junior, former underage Welsh international indeed, lines up this free kick. He'll be looking to whip this one in to the middle. Dan Cooner is there. And it's same towards the back post, and Allen bounces the ball but gathers fairly comfortably. And Cooner will have to race back because Gold Coast Knights have proven adept at getting the ball forward in this opening 25 minutes or so, and they'll do so over on that far side through former Western Pride star Adam Endean. Endean threads the needle through to Kyle. Looks like he's moving a lot freer now after that awkward fall a few moments ago. Nichols does really well there to force the turnover. Prasad with the ball at his feet. Nichols in so much space, pokes the ball through towards Sam Smith. It was just behind him. Still there though, Max Brown with the shot. It's blocked at source, and a little bit of awkwardness there from Cooner. Brown with the shot. Easily saved by Reesby. He watched it all the way through a maze of legs, albeit, but nevertheless it was a fairly comfortable save from the Peninsula Power stopper.
Yeah, definitely. That's one that can be testing, because the keeper can't always see in those situations. They'll be stuck behind their defenders, so it's a great chance to have a shot, and but he watched it into the palm of his hands quite comfortably.
Hoffman giving away the free kick in transition there in favour of Peninsula Power. Chipped forward towards Fox, who had his hands all over Oscar Dillon. The referee did see it, and here's a free kick which is taken quickly. What will Gold Coast Knights be able to muster? The fans looking on nervously.
There's a lot of them here, isn't there? I tell you what.
It's really come in, haven't they, the crowd, over the last 20 minutes or so. Fox does well, ball at the feet of Woolley. Woolley inside to Strickland. Strickland's forced back though by his opposite number, Max Brown. Over to the far side, and Roper. It's well cut out by Mitch Nichols. Nichols wants a free kick for something. I'm not quite sure what, but he best turned his attentions to winning a free kick. That was a little bit aggressive from Jared Kyle, again a player we do see that from sometimes. He's run away from the action fairly swiftly. Mitch Nichols continuing his conversation with our Total Tools referee, as is his wont.
It's always a tricky one, isn't it, when players have a lot of experience and they're used to being able to talk to referees a lot when they're playing the higher levels. So it's interesting to see how our Total Tools official will handle that situation. We watched it in the A-League with the likes of Timmy Cahill, Harry Kuehl when they came back. How did they talk to the referees? It was very different from the local players.
You can see why some of the best referees in the game learn so much from refereeing in Queensland. They do have plenty of opportunity to chat. Perhaps why we have such quality referees in this country. That tackle needed to be timed well, and it was timed brilliantly. And I think Richard Hurlin is just having a conversation with Jared Kyle as well, just making sure that he's okay, but all of his experience being used there, the Welshman, and that was a perfectly timed tackle. If he'd misjudged it though, could have been in a fair bit of bother.
Yeah, perfectly timed, and he is lucky, because if it wasn't, yeah, you're right, he'd be in
Kyle
bother.
Nichols always off balance, and he's found himself on the grass. I'm not quite sure whether from frustration or by way of a knock by a Peninsula Power player. He gets himself up to his feet, and I think it's more out of frustration that he didn't find the target there. A wonderful opportunity, but Mitch Nichols is finding himself in space, and Peninsula Power are really playing with fire if they think he's not going to at some point capitalise and cause some problems.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he is getting into those positions really, really well. We've got to see better than that, though, don't we? I mean, that was a long way off target, and we need to be seeing those.
Kuna to Fox. Fox does brilliantly. That's the pace we were talking about. Fox one-on-one with Allen. That is a sensational save from Tim Allen. He was second favourite there against Brenton Fox, but that is absolutely magnificent. He made himself big and used absolutely every inch of his height and his wingspan to get that touch to tip it round the post. Brilliant save. Gold Coast Knights still in it, just trailing by a goal to nil.
That was just fantastic save, wasn't it? I mean, that had goal written all over it.
He gathers the ball there and then gets a late one. I can't see who it was. Was it Roper or was it Plummer? Gets a little bit of a push for his troubles as well on the way through. Tim Allen gets to his knee. He wins the free kick. It was in fact Sam Roper. You don't like seeing players going in on keepers like that. I mean, the ball was there to be won, and Roper just getting a little bit of advice from Mitch Nichols there as well, and he'll be wise to listen to the elder statesman on the field at the moment.
It was Roper ball, wasn't it, to be honest with you? You just don't want to see that. Leave it out.
That was Roper ball. I'll leave you to decide what I was talking about. Peninsula Power on the attack now. Here is Roper. Can he atone for that little mistake? It was a good little pass. Fox with his fast feet. We saw how quick he was, though, bursting through in that one-on-one with Tim Allen. Just managed to breeze past Luke Austin as if he wasn't there. And Austin a little bit flat-footed, you have to say, as Nichols races in towards goal, tries to thread the needle through towards Sam Smith. It was a fiercely struck pass. It was cut out by the Peninsula Power defence. Nichols ghosting into the far side now. Back inside to Brown. Brown's going to shape to shoot here. No, it's Sam Smith. Gets too much on the header. It's going to fall for Nichols, though, over on this near corner. Brown again. Linking up with Prasad. Brown is still going to get there. He got the better of Woolley. Goes down as well.
It looks like a free kick to me, that one. I mean, the referee's
in a
not
promising position as well.
Yeah, definitely. If he was playing advantage, there's no advantage when you go back. So that, to me, looked like a free kick, looked like a bit of a push in the back.
They do retain possession, though, do Gold Coast Knights. The tackles flying in a little from Peninsula Power. They'll have to watch that or risk irking our Total Tools referee, as Carl does brilliantly in limited space over on that far side. Puts it in towards Smith. Had Smith not touched that, Jaden Prasad was ready and waiting and had locked and loaded, ready to shoot there, and could only swing at air because Sam Smith took it off his foot.
Yeah, he was ready to fire that one, wasn't he? And I tell you what, that I was hoping that was going to get on the end of it, because that would have been exciting. That's just miscommunication, I reckon.
Kelly Hammersley just having a bit of fun with my co-commentator in the comments. Do let us know where you're watching from, as that ball is swept in by Prasad. It's headed away, though. Still there, though. An opportunity now, though, for Peninsula Power and Tom Strickland to spring the counter-attack. Strickland herring towards goal. Hoffman does really well with his strength. Plays the ball back to Tim Allen, and Allen has all the time and space in the world to play the ball comfortably out to Oscar Dillon. Lovely composure at the back from the Gold Coast Knights, and they snuffed out that danger very, very well.
They did. That was composed. That was good defending there. No getting past them that time. So
Schmidt closed down quickly there by Fairgrieve. Space, though, for Brown.
It's good to see so many people watching the live stream as well, and hopefully they're enjoying our commentary. But it's good to see that Jason Maguire's on there as well, who is the local technical development manager for Football Queensland in the Gold Coast region. So it's good to see him on there watching it as well.
He'll be enjoying what he's seeing from a technical perspective, I'm sure, as that ball's headed clear. Strong header from Oscar Dillon. Inside towards Prasad. It falls fortuitously for Prasad. Sam Smith back to Prasad. One-on-one Prasad. What a tackle that was. James Fairgrieve from nowhere. Oh, wow. That's absolutely fantastic defence. We'll look at the replay in our commentary booth now. Oh, tell you what. Jaden Prasad had the goal at his mercy, and I think Jake Reesby would have had his heart in his mouth but for that brilliant tackle from Fairgrieve. Another brilliant piece of defensive work that we've seen in this game so far. That's the reason why it's only 1-0.
That is what you call last ditch, isn't it? That was just absolutely marvellous. I wonder if he pulled the trigger earlier, would it have gone in?
Swept in, and it's comfortably gathered by Reesby. I tell you what, that was a brave take. He's not the tallest keeper that we've seen in the National Premier League Queensland, but he delivers that ball brilliantly after claiming so well, and Fox has space to run into. He's so dangerous when he does that. Is the flag up? The flag is up. It won't count even if the ball does go in. Chris Kanchevsky in the rarefied air of the attacking left wing position. He's normally a left back, Kanchevsky, 22-year-old from the Sunshine Coast. Former teammate of Olympic coach Ben Kahn up there at Noosa Lions, if you're interested. He was part of the Noosa Lions side that did so well in the FFA Cup back in 2015 that were knocked out by Palm Beach. Palm Beach, the side that would eventually become Gold Coast City, led, of course, by Gray Piddick. There's connections everywhere.
Yeah, there definitely is, mate. And I've just had word that we've got the IFCA event manager watching on the live stream as well, Brendan Boss. So it's good to see those guys tuning in as well, watching this cracking game.
Another man who gets everywhere, Brendan Boss. Hope you're enjoying the call, Bossy. There's Sam Smith, using his size and strength so well and so effectively so far. Not at the result of a goal yet, though, as Prasad is taken out off the ball by Fairgrieve. Fairgrieve treading a tightrope for a caution, and that's what some of our supporters beneath us are asking for. And I think they probably have a point, and Jaden Prasad is just making the point as well. That was a good opportunity. Lovely interplay again on this near side for Gold Coast Knights, but they do have a promising free kick. Should that have been a yellow card though, Andy?
Well, if we look at what happened to his teammate earlier on, I think yes. I mean, he got a yellow card for something very similar.
Goes inside to Schmidt. Schmidt towards Smith at the back post. It was Kyle, in fact, who was waiting at that back post. It's coming back in though. Nichols is used as a step ladder there at the edge of the penalty area.
I was going to say, it looked like they were rock climbing there, mate. It was Sheila Louise.
Schmidt looking for an option. Finds that option in Oscar Dillon in a rare position to put a cross in. Normally he's on the end of those, but his cross wasn't a great one and it's cut out. Hoffman does really well, though. Really well. And free kick is given. Handball, says our Total Tools referee in the middle, and he was in a better position than we were, and it does seem to be accepted with good grace from both sides on that occasion. So perhaps what we couldn't see, our Total Tools referee could.
Yeah, I'm glad it was. I'm glad it was for a handball and not a tackle, because that was a fine tackle. So yeah, he can definitely see it better than we can.
Woolley just rode over the foot of Matt Schmidt on that occasion. Free kick to Peninsula Power. Jaden Prasad just inspecting where they want the free kick to be taken and making a fairly close inspection at that.
Yeah. Jaden a little bit too far out to whip it in? Oh, well, there you go. That's the answer. Question answered, isn't it?
Power do tend to want to shift the angle of attack in the way that they play. They do so now. It's drifting in towards Allen. A difficult one for Allen to deal with, especially with Luke Plummer arriving. We've already seen Allen have to take a couple of knocks in these early stages. There's a Peninsula Power player down over on that far side. I think it's just a shoelace for Jared Kyle, but we'll keep our eye on that. He's back to his feet now. The ball at the feet of Tim Allen. He launches the ball forward towards Jaden Prasad, but it's cut out fairly comfortably by Plummer. Though Schmidt finds Dillon. Dillon tries to go long towards Kyle. No ill effect, so it must have just been the shoelace. Ball back at the feet of Dillon after that forward pass towards Woolley is not picked out. And Allen again. A pattern repeating. Mitch Nichols trying to break the mould. Sam Smith can be awkward in these positions. He gets there ahead of Plummer, who looks to be carrying some sort of injury after that knock. Smith using his strength. Nichols on the edge of the penalty area. What strings can he pull? He wants Sam Smith in the middle. He has Jared Kyle in the middle. Kyle ran straight through the back of Richard Hurlin as if he wasn't there. And that's a long ball up towards Josh Woolley. You can't take your eyes off this one for a second here at the Croatian Sports Centre in Carrara. over to the far side, and Briggs on the edge of the penalty area, might shape to shoot, has his pocket picked quite spectacularly by Max Brown, through the legs and everything, and Max Brown delivers the ball upfield towards Sam Smith. Sam Smith goes off his feet. Is that worthy of a free kick? You do see them blown for on some occasions, and the Peninsula Plough players were pretty upset with the way Sam Smith went in there.
Yeah, they looked like to be a bit of studs, but look, referee's closer than us again, isn't he? And made a right decision. Let the game play, I reckon. But going back to this one on the edge of the box that Gold Coast Knights had, I'm surprised Mitch Nichols isn't going and having a shot in those situations. We've seen him score from those distances in the A-League.
Lovely link-up play between Kyle and Smith. Smith's going to sweep this one in. Kyle's on the edge of the area. Nichols back. It's come all the way back to Max Brown. He's going to pull the trigger. And that ends up in the supporters' deck, the sponsors' deck, nonetheless, and behind the goal. And that's an opportunity that Gold Coast Knights will want to have again. And Max Brown may well look to the heavens, because that's where he might find answers to that rather disappointing effort.
They've got a net up as well, and it's actually surpassed that net, mate. So
it's not the tallest of nets, to be fair.
It's not. We'll say that. So there you go, the ref's having a bit of a chat to Mitch Nichols, just telling him to cut it out. Don't want any more out of the ear.
Having a conversation with Dan Cooner as well, and indeed Sam Roper. There have been a couple of little loose challenges coming in, and we mentioned that might be the case in the opening address of this match. So it's a good refereeing, I think, from Martin Herstov, just to make sure that the players know what he expects, and just reminding them of that fact, even though it is just 6 minutes before the half-time break. A good opportunity, in fact, while we were waiting for the ball situation to be resolved down to our left. That has been resolved, and Reesby will get play underway with a low trajectory kick. It's found all its way through towards Fox. Allen raced out of his area, and safety first hammered that one just over halfway. Allen nodding away, just making sure that everybody knows that he made the right decision, and it did need to be made, because Fox, we've seen his pace, he was about to latch onto that, and if Allen had remained rooted to his spot, we might have had to pull off one of those spectacular saves again.
Oh, definitely. He's reading the game really well from the number one spot, and it's exactly what you expect from your keeper, and what you want is to come out, sweep those balls up and collect. He's done very, very well there, showing experience. Former
Brisbane City player, did spend some time in Northern Ireland with Ballymena United as well, so he has experience all over the world, does Tim Allen. Had a spell away from the game, was scouted after a successful season with Brisbane City by a couple of high-profile clubs down in Victoria, but wasn't sure whether he wanted to play, and indeed did have a spell away from the game and has come back refreshed. Offside is the call against Sam Smith. I don't think he's overly happy with the decision, but against Renee Coghill is in a perfect spot over on that far side to see that. It would have been coming back from the offside position, of course. Yeah, must be a spate of shoelace problems in this match, because Dan Cooner is now down on his haunches, just rectifying an equipment issue.
Need to go to a shoelace tying lesson, I think, mate. There's been a couple gone down, and
didn't know you could have lessons in that. Well, I guess everyone has to learn somehow, don't they?
That's it.
Ball is launched forward in the general direction of Jared Kyle. Kyle sticks his boot out. Sorry, it's Smith who sticks his boot out and controls that ball well. Space on this near side now for Matt Schmidt, and all the space in the world for Jaden Prasad. It's closed down pretty quickly by Fairgrieve, but Prasad is so dangerous. He cuts back inside, dodges one challenge, can't get the ball past that massed Peninsula Power defence. They are defending very well, and in numbers are Peninsula Power in this first half. They do lead this match. This FFA Cup 6th qualification round clash between Gold Coast Knights and Peninsula Power by a goal to nil. That is a touch out of the very top draw from Dean Briggs. He slides the ball through towards Roper. Roper can't quite get there ahead of Oscar Dillon, and Dillon makes a very, very good tackle. It'll be a throw-in over on that far side. And just before we have a chat, Richard Hurlin just limping away over on that far side before taking that throw-in as well. 34 years old, the Welshman. Takes a couple of knocks, takes a little bit more time to recover from. And it might have been, in fact, when he was run over really by Jared Kyle. I've mentioned on a couple of occasions that Jared Kyle does have a physique more suited to a player of the Gold Coast Titans and the Gold Coast Knights, and having been run into by him, I imagine it would be worth feeling after a couple of moments as well. But that'll be one to look out for. Such a key player for Peninsula Power, wearing the captain's armband tonight as Smith delivers that cross in. It was in the general direction of Jaden Prasad, but it was cut out once again. That massed bank of red shirts able to cut out any danger, and the ball is again played upfield, dumped off, as you'd say, towards Oscar Dillon, and Fox a little bit over enthusiastic in making that challenge on Oscar Dillon. He gives away a free kick.
Yeah, it's a foul. He's never going to get the ball. I don't really understand why forwards do it. It was actually probably going out. Just let it go. No, it's
a fine balance between making your presence felt and doing so illegally, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Matt Schmidt has gone on an amazing run here, and it's just opened up for him. He's still got the ball at his feet, Matt Schmidt, and in fact he almost ran out of ideas there. Good run, though, from the youngster. Prasad goes back inside to Hoffman. Hoffman's going to go all the way to Adam Ndian over on that far side of the field. Back inside to Brown. Brown's done well in this first half. Tried to squeeze the ball towards Mitch Nichols. Does find the ball through towards Mitch Nichols. Nichols with the chip. It was waiting and begging to be headed by Jared Kyle, but for the defensive work of Peninsula Power, it would have been. Just as a quick aside as well, Max Brown was left sprawling on the turf after delivering that pass towards Mitch Nichols. So again a late challenge coming in, and Max Brown is just feeling his ribs now, and he's getting a little bit of a conversation and a general inquiry about his well-being from our Total Tools official. Is that worthy of perhaps coming back for, again, not for a free kick, but perhaps a discussion? We haven't seen any words being exchanged between the Total Tools referee and any of the Peninsula Power players, but it's those little things that stop the flow of the game that start to get a little bit frustrating. Definitely. From both sides of the field, and then the game starts to get niggly, and that's when tempers boil over, and you don't want any game to be marred by situations such as those.
No, exactly right. We don't need the game to get scrappy like that. I think it's been a fantastic first half so far, and we're 44 minutes into it. And I was just going to comment before, it's quite interesting to see. You can see the Gold Coast with the transitioning they're doing at the top between the 7, 11 and the 9.
Prasad back inside to Brown. Brown showing no ill effects and goes in fairly hard on Plummer. Plummer does well. And perhaps just asking why he didn't get any support sooner. Prasad takes the throw in quickly. Back at the feet of Hoffman. Hoffman inside towards Brown. Brown, that's a lovely touch from Brown to Prasad. Prasad with the curling effort. Kyle was arriving. Jake Reesby kept his cool and his composure and managed to just keep his position. He could have been easily distracted by this onrushing white mass of a figure in Jared Kyle. He wasn't, though, and managed to make the save fairly comfortably. Here is Peninsula Power. Can they double their lead just before the break? We're in stoppage time at the moment as Briggs backtracks, perhaps showing a little bit of rustiness, having only played 2 games so far this season, this being his 3rd. Just unable to get onto the end of that and get that ball under his control.
He's definitely a quality player, isn't he, from the few touches he's had out there tonight, and he's in for a good evening, I think. Here we go.
Opportunity over the top for Briggs now. Briggs into the penalty area. Briggs, it's another good save from Tim Allen. He's been called upon a couple of times by Gold Coast Knights as Tim Allen, but he has answered every single call. He couldn't do much about the goal that Peninsula Power scored, but there have been 2 goals that he has definitively stopped with marvellous saves. That time with his left hand. Brilliant stop from the former Brisbane City star.
That was a fantastic save again, wasn't it? He was so quick down onto that. Unbelievable. Does that bring you back to your goalkeeping days, mate?
If I ever made saves like that, I don't remember them. A fantastic keeper, Tim Allen. And he's going to be called upon here as Knights fling bodies, and as do Peninsula Power. A little bit of gamesmanship as that ball is looped up towards Tim Allen to stop him from taking the free kick quickly. Brenton Fox just mentioning that the free kick was given inside the goal area as opposed to where Tim Allen has placed the ball, about 14 yards from the goal line. It's not something worth arguing about. The 2 teams will head into the sheds, and Andy Allen, that was a fantastic match fantastic first half of FFA Cup football. It is the visitors, Peninsula Power, who have the lead. Josh Woolley in the 21st minute, capitalising on a defensive mistake. There have been a couple of flash points, a couple of fantastic saves from Tim Allen, who has really kept his side in it. As much as Gold Coast Knights have probably had the majority of the play in the first half, Peninsula Power could really be 3-0 up, and if not for Tim Allen, they would be 3-0 up. So credit to the Gold Coast Knights goalkeeper there. 45 minutes to come. What do Gold Coast Knights need to do, or is it a case of just trusting their processes and making sure that they capitalise on the position that they have gained in this first half and carry that on into the second half?
Well, it's all well and good having the possession, but have we had many shots on target? We've not had a whole lot of shots on target from Gold Coast Knights, and that's what they probably need to start doing, getting into those creative areas to get the shots on target. They're playing quite narrow up the top there, so it'll be interesting to see, are they going to bring that a bit wider in the second half to get those crosses in the balls and open at the gap. So it's going to be an exciting second half, just like it was end-to-end stuff in that first half. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, both coaches have options on the bench, and I'm sure we will see those options being called upon in the second half. Gray Piddock with all the work to do in the half-time sheds for Gold Coast Knights. Aaron Phillip will be fairly satisfied, I think, with the 3 clear-cut chances that his side have produced. We will have a short break. Someone managed to bring some FFA cupcakes up to the commentary box for our half-time snack, so we hope that you managed to get some refreshment as well, and we'll be back after these short messages.
So it's Volunteer Week here in Queensland and across Australia, and on behalf of Football Queensland, we'd like to thank all of our volunteers right across the state for the hard work that they do every weekend and during the week to ensure our great game is magnificently run. You're the true heroes of the game, and on behalf of Football Queensland, we'd like to thank you for everything you do.
We've got Yeah the Girls events running across the state from the Gold Coast to as far north as Cairns, and we invite you to come along to give football a go. Whether you've played before or whether it's your first time, we encourage you to come along, have a go, enjoy the experience, and most importantly, have lots of fun. The events are all free of charge. All we require from you is for you to register prior to the event, and that can be done on Football Queensland's website. Yeah the girls. Yeah the girls. Yeah the girls! No. Yeah the girls.
My favourite part about playing football is that it's fun. Because it's fun. It's fun. It improves your ability to do stuff. Because it's fun, and you get to have fun and meet new people. It's just the game I play, and it's a lovely sport. And because it's fun, and I'm playing with my friends.
I like to play football because it's a great experience to make new friends.
I like to play football because it's fun. You don't have to use your hands, and it's really fun to play. Teamwork, passing, and to never give up. All that matters, just have fun and do your best.
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football?
I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit.
It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebrations.
What's your reason? Join our team.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Well, the Make Us Your Second Team campaign started at the start of this season. We're not asking people to come here and make Knights their number one team. Me personally, I'm an Arsenal fan. So for me to come down here tonight, I'm making Knights my second team.
I'm Sam Smith. Don't worry about making us your first team, but can you make us our second?
Hi, I'm Max Brown from Gold Coast Knights. I know we may not be your first team, but make us your second team.
Alinta Energy Geothermal is proud to announce its partnership with Gold Coast Knights for the 2019 NPL season. Alinta Energy is making Gold Coast Knights their first team.
Welcome back to the Croatian Sports Centre here in Carrara on the Gold Coast. A beautiful evening for football, and we've been entertained in the first 45 minutes. Gold Coast Knights trailing Peninsula Power by a goal to nil. Peninsula Power leading the National Premier League's Queensland from Lions and Gold Coast Knights in third. So high quality encounter. Andy Allen alongside me, Simon Smale. It's been an interesting clash so far. We spoke briefly before the half about what Gold Coast need to do. They are still in the sheds at the moment. Peninsula Power have been sent out a little bit early by Aaron Phillip, and they are just keeping themselves warm in the field at the moment, as the Knights do eventually make their way back down from the sheds to a fairly rousing round of applause from the supporters here. There are plenty of them. They're all expectant and they're waiting for a response from their side. But they weren't the second best team in that first half, were they? In fact, they had a number of promising positions, but not too many opportunities really in order to test Jake Reesby. He had a fairly quiet half, only a couple of fairly comfortable long-range shots to deal with. Whereas Tim Allen, on the other hand, well, we say that perhaps Gold Coast Knights have a better team. Tim Allen has pulled off two world-class saves to keep his side in it, because it could be 3-0 very easily if not for Tim Allen's efforts.
100%. It could be 3-0. And, I mean, yeah, Gold Coast Knights have had the possession, but I tell you what, Peninsula Power are showing the power of the Peninsula, really, aren't they? They're showing they're quick, they're lightning through, and, you know, they've got what it takes to win games. We've seen that for how many games they went unbeaten again, 46, and we know they know how to win a game. So can they see this one out? But it's going to be a tough battle from Gold Coast Knights. Obviously, they've got a bit of key experience in there as well. So it's going to be an exciting half. Obviously, it's getting a bit colder. It's getting a bit colder up here, isn't it? And they're getting warm, nice and warm when they come out, and excited to get this one underway.
Could be a very, very big weekend for Peninsula Power. They have their 20th anniversary celebrations tomorrow night, a gala dinner where they're going to announce their men's and women's team of the past 2 decades. Bit of a piece in the Courier Mail yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, that I saw celebrating that fact. And it's been 20 years since Peninsula Power came into being. Margate and Redcliffe FCs joining, merging to create the force that does exist now, and it's a force that looked to be hoping to advance to the next stage of the FFA Cup. And if things remain as they are in the second 45 minutes as they did the first, they'll be well on their way. Just a home tie against Brisbane Strikers, who got the better of Eastern Suburbs in the last round. And Peninsula Power, Strikers doing Peninsula Power a bit of a favour by knocking Lions out for them, so that run won't be ended by Lions. The nemesis, the team that ended Peninsula Power's run. We get things back underway here. Peninsula Power in the red shirts, kicking from right to left, and they're on the attack straight away with Dean Briggs. Had a couple of opportunities in that first half, one forcing an absolutely brilliant save from Tim Allen. Here's Kyle under pressure, and a neat touch from Kyle, and Gold Coast Knights playing the ball out from the back brilliantly. That's a lovely touch from Hoffman as well, and all of a sudden there's a lot of space over on that far side of the field for Matt Schmidt. He's forced to cut back, comes inside to Adam Indian though. Indian over the top towards Kyle. Kyle with a heavy touch, and that was poor from Kyle.
Still in the sheds, I think, there a little bit. Oh!
And then he leaves a really nasty challenge on Dean Briggs, and you have seen those being given yellow cards before, because that's not the first time that Jared Kyle has actually done that sort of challenge in this game, and he's just getting a talking to, and that's all it will be. It was born out of frustration. He's a player that does get frustrated in these situations when he does lose possession like that, but that was a nasty challenge, and Dean Briggs is walking away fairly gingerly from that one, down away to our left. Ball is over on the far side of the field though, with Tom Strickland. Strickland tries to play the ball across, and you don't want to play the ball to Mitch Nichols too many times. He goes for the audacious effort. It's saved just underneath his crossbar by Jake Reesby. It took a little bit too much backspin, I think, from Mitch Nichols, just a little bit too much loft, and ended up just drifting towards the Peninsula Power goalkeeper.
I mean, I'm just wondering if the players have too much respect for Mitch Nichols, because I was expecting a few of the players there to be kind of rollicking.
Fox picks the pocket of Oscar Dillon there, cuts it back towards Dean Briggs, and we have the second goal of the game. That is a dagger blow to Gold Coast Knights. Dean Briggs does not need too many invitations, and he has answered that one on that occasion. A lovely finish past the despairing dive of Tim Allen. It was poor from Oscar Dillon. Was there a foul from Brenton Fox in the way he dispossessed Oscar Dillon? I'm not sure. I think it might have just been a little bit of out-muscling. But nevertheless, that's not how the referee saw it. He just saw the goal ball go into the back of the net. Peninsula Power now leading Gold Coast Knights by 2-0.
Wow, yeah, that's a mistake, isn't it, from the defender there. He'll be kicking himself and maybe lose some sleep over that tonight, because that might have just cost them their cup run, which obviously they did so well last year, and only got beaten by Newcastle Jets, the 1-0. And are they out now? Who knows? It's going to be an exciting half now, and unfortunately Tim Allen just couldn't get his hand to it strong enough.
It's the third goal in as many games for Dean Briggs on his return from his MCL injury.
Ooh.
And Smith leaves one there on Richard Hurlin. Hurlin has copped a couple of knocks so far, and another yellow card. Sam Smith showing a little bit of frustration towards our Total Tools referee. That's the second yellow card of the game for Gold Coast Knights. And we mentioned that sometimes the challenges can be a little bit sloppy. If Jared Kyle is a little bit lucky just down in front of us a few moments ago, then I don't think Sam Smith can have too many arguments. He did leave his foot out, and once again, I think it was Richard Hurlin again managed to cop a nasty blow.
Yeah, look, it's a foul, it's a card, so no queries from the players there.
Great strength from Dean Briggs, such a key player in this Peninsula Power side. Briggs goes past 2 challenges, and now surely we're going to see a card for Jared Kyle. He does finally receive the yellow card.
I mean, they can't contain Briggs, can they? He's fast like a rocket ship, isn't he? He just absolutely goes down there. Great skill, just can't contain him, in fairness.
It's fortunate for Adam Indian, but Jared Kyle got that final touch on Dean Briggs, because Adam Dean was shown the first yellow card of the game in that first half, and I don't think it was perhaps warranted of a yellow card in its own right, perhaps as an accumulation from that previous challenge, the warning not heeded by Jared Kyle. But nevertheless, if Dean Briggs is going to keep showing those fancy footwork,
they could both be in for a long night now, as they're both on yellow cards. They do not want to be throwing their bodies into those tackles like that, or they'll see themselves off an early shower.
Briggs whips this one in. Difficult one for Tim Allen to deal with, and he acrobatically flies past his near post in an attempt to close down the angle. It was slightly misjudged from Briggs, but a clever attempt. Allen was expecting the free kick to be whipped in towards the back post, those awkward ones for the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
He did close the space pretty quickly, did Tim Allen, to be honest. I think he had it covered, but nevertheless, just a shot across the bows from Peninsula Power once again. They do lead this game by 2-0, 5 minutes into the second half. Smith with the header. Doesn't get onto the end of it, though, and another one for Fox to challenge. Fox just leaps into Luke Austin. That was sloppy at best from Brenton Fox. I'm not quite sure what he's attempting to achieve there.
And maybe he's taken the character of his name, maybe, because he was leaping like a fox there, wasn't he, at the other team? So no need for that.
Wasn't particularly cunning, though, was it? Inside towards Roper. Roper can't find his teammate, though. Touch, though, from Richard Hurlin. His opposite number, Prasad, cuts it out. Now all of a sudden it's Carl on this near side of the field. He goes up against Hurlin. How much pace does Richard Hurlin have? Just about enough to put off Jared Carl on his run inside, and then a really poor effort. Wonderful in attack, not so great in clearing the danger from defence, Dean Briggs. It's one he won't want to see again.
Big swing, no ding, we call those ones, don't we?
Not much ding at all on that, I'm afraid. Hoffman. And Dean, inside to Nichols, space for Nichols. He puts the ball over towards the inside. It's Brown, chips it up. The ball ends up being chipped up. Brown offside is the call against Jared Kyle. And speaking to the Brisbane Football Review boys just downstairs in our lovely commentary Tower of Terror here.
Don't call it that, please.
This is a fantastic platform, to be honest. Really wonderful setup here at the Croatian Sports Centre. We've got a fantastic view of proceedings. I'm sure you're enjoying on the live stream. And they hypothesised that perhaps there might be a weakness in Peninsula Power's game, and it is Richard Hurlin who is that weakness, and using his pace and perhaps changing Jared Kyle out for someone with a little more pace. And Jared Kyle has been withdrawn. When Jared Kyle and Sam Smith are on the field, it may as well be playing a 4-4-2, because they both do have that that physical presence up front. But Kyle, who did look to slightly be losing his temper a little, has been withdrawn, and Nick Panetta, who had a good intervention when he came on last time we saw Gold Coast Knights against Olympic, and he was brought onto the field.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, won't it? Because previously they were playing very narrow, so bringing on extra pace, I wonder if they play a bit wider.
Nichols has gone wide, Panetta inside him. Here he is now. Panetta looking for the return pass to Nichols. He gets it back instead from Endean. Tries to go on a mazy run himself. Does brilliantly. Is challenged by Hurlin. Penalty! There was just enough contact from Richard Hurlin in order to give away the penalty. He is protesting vehemently towards the assistant on this near side. She's not having any conversation at all. It's certainly not two-way, let's put it that way, between the Peninsula Power defenders and the assistant on this near side. He all three of those players are belatedly being told to move away from the assistant now, and Sam Smith needed no second invitation. He is standing waiting by the penalty spot, and we will have to see what happens here. But a golden opportunity for the Knights to claw their way back into the game, and the substitution of Nick Panetta instantly reaping its rewards for Gray Piddick. Good change from the Gold Coast Knights coach. We've
obviously seen a lot of penalties of late, haven't we, with the A-League, so they'd have been practicing theirs, no doubt, knowing it's a cup run.
Reesby doing the old wobbly legs, the wiggles, I think we're going to call it from now. Sam Smith makes no mistake, you're not stopping that even if you get behind it, I don't think. That's an emphatically finished penalty from Sam Smith, and the deficit is half. Gold Coast Knights trailing Peninsula Power by just 1-0 now, and with still 35 minutes remaining in this game, there is a lot of football still to be played.
Oh, 100%. He hit like a rocket. There was no saving that, even if he picked the right way. So, fair enough. We're back to 2-1, and exciting stuff again.
You felt that Gold Coast Knights needed to score next, and you can hear the singing from away to our left, and beneath us, the supporters enjoying what they're seeing now. A rambunctious start to this second half. End-to-end stuff. 2 goals already in 10 minutes.
It's just fantastic, isn't it? I mean, you were telling me before about your goalkeeping career in the cup run, mate. Have you ever come across a penalty and saved one yourself, mate?
I don't think I've ever saved a penalty. I've given away a few on one occasion. That's probably why I'm not playing football anymore. I don't think I'd have saved that if there'd been 4 of me standing in the goal. It was an emphatic shot from Sam Smith. He put everything behind it, and he has considerable power in that right boot, does Sam Smith. It's his 11th goal in all competitions this season. For the former Gold Coast City star. And that's a lovely touch from Mitch Nichols. It's all of a sudden there for Brown. Panetta wide. A little bit too wide, and the move breaks down, but it's still there for Mitch Nichols. Nichols has been given plenty of respect, as you've already said, Andy. From Dan Cooner this time. Here is Panetta, the substitute. He made an instant impact. The touch off the referee. Wow. Is that a handball? Ooh. Still there for Smith, high over the bar. Brown is still appealing for a handball right on the edge of the area. It wasn't inside the area, importantly, and I think that's for the best from a Peninsula Power perspective. I don't know how much the defender knew about the hand, even if it was a hand. I have to admit to not seeing it clearly in real time, but the decision was made not to penalise the Peninsula Power defence, and we are still locked away at 2-1, and it'll be a goal kick to Jake Reesby.
Always a hard one to call, isn't it? A handball. I mean, I saw it there, and obviously appealing for it as you do, and it could have gone either way.
Fox jumps right into Schmidt again. It's slightly sloppy forward play from Fox. Played a lone hand up front for the majority of this game, or has been lent ample support from Dean Briggs and Josh Woolley and Tom Strickland on occasion. Fox does well there. Here's Briggs. Briggs racing towards the edge of the penalty area, goes down. There's 2 Peninsula Power players down on the ground. They both belatedly get up to their feet. No decision from the referee other than to play on, and it'll be the Knights who play on towards this near side. Panetta gets ran-handled to the ground by Richard Hurlin. I can't believe that wasn't given as a free kick against Richard Hurlin.
I thought that was a free kick. All in all, it's right in front of us here, but referee again, he's closer, so can't argue with the Total Tools official.
Prasad trying to link up over on that far side with Schmidt, but unable to do so. Hoffman, neat little back heel to Austin. Austin comes across to Dillon. Space opening up for Gold Coast on this near side. Here's Adam Indian. Indian inside to Sam Smith, using his strength, laying the ball off to Panetta. Smith wants the return ball. Austin wants it as well. Mitch Nichols, apologies, that wasn't far away at all. Was not far away at all.
Wow.
From Mitch Nichols. We've perhaps criticised him a little bit in this first half in particular for not shooting on sight on occasion when he's been afforded that space on the edge of the penalty area. He shot then, and he was oh so close to levelling the scores at 2-2.
It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? If he had shots earlier in the first half, would they have been closer? Would they have been in? He obviously has just tested everyone then.
Can't maintain possession there, Austin. Here's Briggs up against Ndian. And Ndian gives away the corner. Dean Briggs, will be fairly satisfied with that. He'll be feeling the pace of this match. It's just his third match since his return from his MCL injury. He goes short to Hurlin. Hurlin with the cross. It took a deflection on its way through. Tim Allen comfortably gathers at his near post and then releases the ball over on that far side. We'll get play back underway quickly.
Have a look at that. There was absolutely no one forward. No one forward. They were all back in the box defending that, so they really don't want to lose another goal. And but again, they're missing opportunities if no one's up.
Nichols to Ndian. Ndian's going to run in towards the penalty area. Panetta makes the run. Is that a handball against Richard Hurlin? I don't think his hand was away from his body, if that makes any difference in the referee's mind.
The thing that was really interesting there is I was just watching the referee and his whistle was going, it was going, and then he pulled it away from his mouth. So he was thinking about it, but like they say in the referee world, if you hesitate, don't call it.
I have to admit, with Hurlin being side on and it hitting his arm side on, his hand was by his side. I just don't see how you can give that. I know the interpretation changes from position to position. Here is Panetta on the edge of the penalty area. Cuts inside, and is that Oscar Dillon? No, it's not. It's Jaden Prasad. It would be remarkable if Oscar Dillon was up in that advanced position in hindsight, but Jaden Prasad couldn't quite get that shot on target, and it'll be another relieving goal kick for Peninsula Power. The tide has most certainly turned in favour of the home side since that penalty. It was perhaps a fortuitous penalty to be given. I'm not quite sure how much contact Richard Hurlin actually made to Nick Panetta, but it was enough in the eyes of the official, and that has been enough to really turn the tide. Knights have probably still been the better side throughout the game, but they are really putting their pedal to the metal now in the second half. Just over the hour mark in this match. 6th qualification round of the Football Queensland FFA Cup draw. A good battle between Fox and Dillon. And the Knights will come back on the attack. Here is Panetta. What an impact he's made since he's come on. Brown, it's gone all the way through towards Prasad. Prasad trying to do the better of Plummer on the outside. Prasad goes down. A long look from our Total Tools referee, and it is a corner. Prasad is pleading his case. The decision has been made, though, and you don't often see those decisions changed.
Definitely not. You don't see the decisions being changed, do you? When
was the decision a right one, Andy?
I'm really questioning that. It looked like it was. It could have been out of the field of play, though. To be honest,
Prasad with the cross towards the back post. A right at the back post. And it was Oscar Dillon. Oscar Dillon has levelled things up for the Knights, and it's nothing short of what they deserve. 62 minutes gone here at the Croatian Sports Ground, and the home side and the home supporters have been sent into raptures. It is Gold Coast Knights 2, Peninsula Power 2, and we have a game on our hands here in the FFA Cup.
That was just fantastic. He's given away a goal to the other side by that little mistake, but he's made amends there, and he's come back and fired one home with his head. Absolutely fantastic. And we're back to 2-2, and it just gets more and more exciting, this game, doesn't it?
Oscar Dillon actually scored the late equaliser, the late equaliser against Olympic in that National Premier League's Queensland clash just a fortnight ago. It was in the 97th minute, I think, from memory. A remarkable performance from Gold Coast Knights. They showed tenacity on that occasion to come back from a goal down while being a man down as well, and they're showing similar tenacity here, although they are on an equal footing with Peninsula Power, who have to respond now. They've had a couple of golden opportunities in that first half as the battle really goes on over on that far side. Jaden Prasad is penalised in the end for a foul on James Fairgrieve. There was a conversation had between the two as well, a little bit of afters perhaps. We don't want to see that creep into this game because it has been a fantastic spectacle so far.
Oh, 100%. We don't want this one to get wasted with the fouls and the niggles, but
Here's an opportunity perhaps for Strickland. It's opened up for him. Strickland tries to play the ball through towards Fox. It's fair for Strickland, is it? No, Allen's off his line to claim. Fox almost seemed surprised that the ball was played through to him as Hurlin steadies underneath that one, and a bit of head tennis being played now. That was a risky one from Kuna. Hurlin back towards Reesby in the end, and the danger has been averted. Sam Smith still lurking, however, with intent around the diminutive in terms of a comparison between the two men stature of Jake Reesby, but that's good play on this near side from Mendy, and Nichols has so much space. Nichols fires it in towards Smith. Smith with a good touch. Nichols again on the edge of the penalty area. What can he muster on this occasion? It gets the ball out towards Nick Panetta, and it comes off Panetta. It'll be a goal kick.
Wow. What else can we say at this stage? It's just been end to end to end. And I tell you what, to come back from 2-0 down to be 2-2 for Gold Coast Knights, that shows character. That really shows character. And, you know, do you fancy them to go on and win it now?
It's not something they're short of character, as I've already mentioned. That game against Olympic in the National Premier League a fortnight ago was just one of the best games of the season for me by a long way, and Oscar Dillon showing his heading prowess there with a fantastic defensive header that's turned defence into attack. Here's Brown doing battle with Kuna. Brown on the edge of penalty area, lovely through ball towards Panetta. Panetta with the shot, it stings the palms of Reesby, and it's still there. Smith, it's still there. Reesby could only hammer that onto the crossbar. Smith with a discussion and a glance towards Reesby there, but now it's the turn of Peninsula Power to turn defence into attack, and the ball aimed towards Briggs. It's headed away by Ndine. He's grown into this game after a shaky start, and the songs are coming from the Gold Coast Knights supporters away to our left now, obviously being warmed up by the melodic sounds of Clappy Samanoa vocal ensemble at half-time. Free kick is given. It's taken quickly by Peninsula Power. They're going to have to hold on here, a Gold Coast Knights, as Briggs races towards the byline. Briggs with the touch. It was an early slide from Ndine, but Ndine did really well in the end to just get that ball away from danger, and Mitch Nichols and Ndine linking up again.
Yeah, definitely. That was well defended in the end. It looked like he was going to make a bit of a mistake there by diving in early, but he's recouped well and kept it from being a shot at goal.
Just used his body to block any opportunity to slide a ball in across the face of goal, and then had the wherewithal to just maintain his composure and play the ball as he saw it when it came to him. Here is Panetta. Comes off Richard Hurlin, who's had a torrid 10 minutes or so, I think it's fair to say. Gave away the penalty and could have given away another.
Yeah, definitely. It's Gold Coast Knights. They've just really found another level, haven't they? Almost. They've gone a gear up.
Hoffman to Nichols. Nichols inside to Smith. Smith tries to use his body, but on that occasion, Janchevsky does well.
Doesn't Nichols just make it look like he's got so much time on the ball? There's players around him, but he's just so composed and relaxed on the ball. It's fantastic.
An awkward pass for Luke Austin to deal with, but he does really well and releases Schmidt, who has acres of space over on that far side in front of the dugouts. Schmidt to Prasad. Prasad back inside to Schmidt. Prasad gets the return ball, sweeps it in towards the middle where Nichols was arriving. Panetta's at the edge of the penalty area now. Why hasn't he had a shot yet? He managed to close down the space all by himself, I think, before getting the shot away. And now that was a bit of a poor touch from Ndine, and that allows Dean Briggs to perhaps capitalise on the mistake and switch the play over towards that far side, and Fox going up against Austin. Austin will have to be clever here. Fox doing well, twisting and turning. That's a poor pass from Fox in the general direction of Strickland, or perhaps a more apt term would be the vague direction of Strickland, because it never got near him. But Strickland has atoned and managed to steal Prasad. Prasad with a little kick out there. Don't know if you saw that on Kuna. Fox goes onto ground as well from a late challenge. Briggs with the shot. Allen watched it all the way onto his hands, and the referee needs to keep his wits about him here and have eyes in the back of his head, because I'll tell you what, Yaden Prasad did kick out there. And if the referee had seen it, well, we know what happens if you kick out at someone. The decision is only one way.
He's getting an early shower, and that is very, very dangerous game to play. It's risky. You do not want to be doing that. keep it clean, lads. We want a good game, and we've had one so far. No need to lash out like that.
And from a neutral watching this game, it's stupid. 11 versus 11 has been a fantastic contest so far, and he puts 100%. His team at real risk of going a man down, and he's incredibly fortunate to remain on the field, even though it was just a little flick. Doesn't matter, the intent was there to kick out. Anyway, 100%. Let's get back on with talking about the football. Nichols, lovely little flick, and even better from Panetta. They're just exchanging tricks, but Nichols with a poor pass, and then Hoffman slid in. He did well not to make contact with Strickland there. Here's Fox. Hoffman's still down. Fox twisting and turning. Finds, or doesn't quite find Woolley. It was really good defence, I think, from Nichols. Racing back there. Yeah. He made the mistake in giving the ball away in his own attacking half, and has come all the way back in his own penalty area to make the intervention. Excellent football from Mitch Nichols.
Fantastic attitude, right, that shows, to be getting back, working for your team. Definitely done fantastic with that all game, so hats off to him.
Briggs. Sorry, it's Woolley. And it's really good defence from Luke Austin.
There's constant press now, isn't there?
Tell you what, it's opened up a fair bit, hasn't it, in the last 5 minutes or so, end-to-end stuff.
Hasn't it just? We haven't been able to get a breath, have we? Brilliant.
Silence is overrated.
Yeah. There we go, getting a bit more composure now. Back to how they were doing in the first half. They were taking their time, relaxing, playing it across. And obviously, just a reminder that whoever does win this game, obviously, goes through and plays Strikers after Strikers beat East 4-1. So that's going to be a cracking game between whoever wins this one and Strikers as well.
Good result that for Strikers. They are leading Sunshine Coast, Redlands United, at Perry Park in the National Premier League's Queensland clash that's taking place today by 3-0 at half-time. The other FFA Cup game, it was 1-0 to Moreton Bay at half-time, but Surfers Paradise have squared things up just down the road at Lexbell Oval. It's 1-1 there. And Brisbane Strikers ended up beating Redlands United by 4-1. If you've just finished watching that one and you've tuned into this one, you've missed a cracking encounter, really engaging and attacking play from both teams. It's been really fantastic to watch, and we are going to see a substitution. Can't quite see who it is. That scoreboard is remarkably bright from that far side.
Shines bright like a diamond, doesn't it? I tell you what, we can't see who it is over there, but
Richard Hurlin's come off. So the 34-year-old from Cardiff, former Welsh international, actually played in the UEFA Cup for Cumberland Town, and for Cumberland Town actually scored a goal after 18 seconds in a game against Kursness. My Welsh is not as good as it used to be, I tell you what. The substitution is not like for like. It's actually Ramon Close who comes on. Wow. Ramon Close playing an attacking player, so Aaron Phillip going all out. A bit of an adjustment taking place.
Interesting to see. Ramon Close is going to be at IFCA over the weekend as well, which is going to be fantastic to hear what he has to say on his part.
So it looks like Fox has gone wide left. Ramon Close has taken up a position in the middle. Woolley's gone up top with him. The ball is aimed towards Close. Close is going to close down Tim Allen. Allen just chips that one over the top to Fox. Lovely touch from Fox. Woolley wants the ball on the far post. Fox is trying to squeeze his way through 3 Gold Coast Knight defenders. He was unable to do so. The shield of the Knights holding firm at the moment. Close just leaves a tackle over on that far side, and from what we've seen go unpunished so far in this half, perhaps Ramon Close might feel a little bit hard done by on that occasion, because it didn't look like there was all that much in it. But nevertheless, the Total Tools assist referee saw that intervention. No foul, no yellow card, but certainly a foul, and I'm not arguing that it wasn't a foul, but we have seen those being a little less stringently dealt with.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe he's just trying to...
Nichols with the poor pass there, and a turnover in favour of Peninsula Power. And here's an opportunity for Dean Briggs. He's up against Oscar Dillon, who's been excellent, and is excellent again. He only concedes a corner when it could have been so much worse. Ramon Close arriving in the middle, just begging for that ball to be delivered onto his foot.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic defending, very smart, very composed. Obviously, we've seen him slip already at the back there, so I'm wondering if he's a bit dewy down there earlier on, but he did well there, just holding him out, jockeying him off.
Well, the pitch is cutting up in places, and it is a fantastic surface here at the Croatian Sports Centre, but there are a couple of patchy areas. Ball is delivered in right off the chest. Excellent work from Panetta, I think it is. Panetta goes down. It just looked like a collision. No foul. Briggs with the cross. It would have been an audacious effort from close. It was behind him and he just attempted a little flick. Unable to make contact though, and here's Mitch Nichols. Nichols switches play over towards this near side. How's that for a touch from Panetta under pressure? Prasad. He switched wings to this near side. Pass just too far ahead of Sam Smith. And it'll be comfortably gathered by Reesby, and a little bit of time for Peninsula Power to regather and regroup their thoughts. And we will continue play now with Chris Janchevsky.
That was a good opportunity. It was a good vision to see that ball, and unfortunately Sam Smith's just a little slow off the mark there.
Ball switched to Briggs. Briggs wants Close to make a run near side, chooses to go himself. Close is picked off before it gets to him by Oscar Dillon. And here's Sam Smith. Sam Smith using his strength to get the better of Janchevsky. Janchevsky gives away the yellow card. He had Sam Smith's hand across his face, but that was perhaps not seen by the referee, and the tackle afterwards certainly was a foul and worthy of a yellow card. It's Peninsula Power's first yellow card of the game. And just things starting to go awry for Peninsula Power at the moment. They led by 2-0. They have now been pulled back to 2-2. Simon Smale and Andy Allen on the commentary with you for this FFA Cup clash. We are being live streamed on the Football Queensland website, the Football Gold Coast website, and the FFA Cup website and Facebook page. So thank you very much for tuning in there, and hope you are enjoying the live call. If you're on Facebook, get in touch. Let us know where you're watching from, and if you're enjoying the call and how you think Gold Coast Knights and Peninsula Power will go. There's still plenty of teams remaining in the draw. We've heard already from Lex Bell Oval, where Surfers Paradise Apollo, a team that have made the round of 32 before, are taking on Moreton Bay United, all square there. Olympic will face the winners of that if they can get past Palm Beach. That's a repeat of the 2014 NPL Grand Final. Much changed Palm Beach, of course, but Monday night at 8 o'clock from Goodwin Park, that one. And then on Tuesday, Holland Park Hawks are hosting Coomera Colts at Whites Hill Reserve. 8 o'clock again, the kick-off there. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we've already mentioned in the NPL Queensland, you've got some live stream football as well. So there's football happening all over the place at the moment. Not forgetting, of course, tomorrow, Burleigh Heads taking on Logan Lightning at Pizzey Park. 7 o'clock kick-off down there at Burleigh. Another game that will be well worth watching in order to determine who will face the winner of Holland Park Hawks and Coomera. So there's lots of Gold Coast sides still in this competition, and the Gold Coast clubs from the Gold Coast Premier League have done such a fantastic job in really going up against the National Premier League sides and doing a really good and really performing brilliantly. Just quickly before you jump in, Andy, Luke Austin is being forced to withdraw. He's limping off over on that far side of the field, and when I get a number I will tell you who has come on. I think it's Jaden Walker. It is Jaden Walker, number 2 for Gold Coast Knights. Injured his shoulder. In fact, I thought dislocated his shoulder against Olympic. He's obviously shown no ill effects from that to be back playing after just a fortnight, or indeed 12 days. Free kick is whipped in dangerously. Keeper's on the ground, and had that shot been on target, there wouldn't have been anything that Reesby would have been able to do about it from his prone position on the deck. Nick Panetta had a golden opportunity to take the lead for the first time on the night for Gold Coast Knights.
Maybe they're just a little bit cold there, to be honest. That was a good effort, but well done for the keeper. But going back to all those games, obviously with the FFA Cup and loads of football happening, it's exciting. But just remember, it is Volunteer Week, National Volunteer Week this week as well. So those games wouldn't be going ahead if we didn't have the volunteers that put the game on throughout the states and the nation. So thanks everyone for volunteering at your time, as obviously we need you to make this game work.
Plummer, who's taken the captain's armband from Hurlin, was appealing for a foul against Sam Smith, but none was given. Power have the ball anyway. Close, who's the Football Brisbane Indigenous Ambassador, of course, organised the National Indigenous Football Championships last Summer. Power working their way on the edge of the penalty area. Briggs still with possession, and then free kick is given. I'm not quite sure what there was in that, to be honest, but nevertheless it's the substitute Jaden Walker who gets the decision in his favour, and Allen with the free kick taken a little bit too quickly perhaps. Nick Panetta unable to get onto the end of it. Dillon doing battle there with Woolley. Woolley getting the better of Dillon, not for the first time tonight, but Dillon has improved since his mistake led to Peninsula Power's second goal. What looked like it could have been at the time a really key goal in this contest, but Gold Coast Knights have hit back. There was an early goal from Josh Woolley that gave Power the lead, and then Sam Smith penalty in the 55th minute, and then Oscar Dillon in the 62nd has levelled things up at 2-2. Nice little bit of footwork from Roper. Still a blind alley though, occupied by Mitch Nichols. Flicked over the top by Briggs. Lovely touch from Fox. And it's well dealt with in the end by Schmidt. Really good defending from Schmidt, and he's on hand again to hammer that ball forward, although it's out of play. It'll be a Peninsula Power throw-in.
Good defending, and I just wonder, was there an arm involved when Fox was taking that ball down? Obviously, we're quite a way away. I couldn't see too much, but it looked maybe it, and there was a couple of appeals, but nevertheless, didn't eventuate into anything.
How are you for history and history repeating itself, Andy? I've got a stat for you here. Last time Peninsula Power lost in the league, in a league competition, was against Grange Thistle. We've already spoken about this on June the 3rd, 2017. And if that sounds like a long time ago, it's because it was 46 regular season games, in fact. The match after that, though, was an FFA Cup tie that Peninsula Power played. Guess what the score was at full time in that in that FFA Cup tie against Logan Lightning?
Oh.
I'll give you a clue. It's pretty similar to what the score is now.
It wasn't 2-2, was it?
It did finish 2-2.
Wow.
Peninsula Power ended up prevailing in that contest, 7-6 on penalties.
Oof.
Anyway, just thought I'd leave that there. Briggs tried to thread the needle through towards Woolley, and you might see by his response what he thought of the end result of that pass. It's in the hands of Tim Allen if you needed further instruction as to the intended destination of that pass, not going to its intended target.
I wonder if Power have been practicing their penalty shootouts in training during the week, maybe.
Sam Smith certainly has. It was a phenomenal penalty that made the score 2-1 earlier on in this second half.
Wasn't it just?
There hadn't been a net there. The ball would still be travelling, I'd suggest.
He'd have sent it into orbit, wouldn't he, mate?
Somewhere over Coffs Harbour by now, I think. Here's Mitch Nichols. Space on the edge of the area for Brown. Brown trying to inject some pace. Gets upset by Cooner and then attempted to be upset by Fairgrieve, but it's still at the feet of Max Brown, albeit in a worse position than before. Headed almost by Sam Smith. It was headed clear, though, at the near post by Fairgrieve. That's a lovely switch pass by Fox, who's now busting a gut to get into the penalty area. Briggs might not need him. He's a goal scorer. He only has eyes for goal. He passed to Woolley, and Woolley couldn't get the ball under control. And there were Peninsula Power players flooding forward, and it has left them slightly thin in midfield now as Gold Coast Knights look to press home their advantage. Brown checking, though, and going back, looking for the right point of attack. Are the hosts. Here's Jaden Walker, the substitute. One of two substitutes that Gray Piddock has made so far. The other in Nick Panetta. He's been fantastic, linking up with Mitch Nichols now. Panetta. Nichols continued his run. Panetta doesn't need him yet. Might not need him at all. Lovely from Panetta. Lovely from Panetta. All it needed was a finish, and that would have been one of the goals of the FFA Cup so far. Certainly from an individual perspective, Nick Panetta just unable to squeeze that one in the near post. We're going to have a short break while we have a substitution, and it is the last roll of the dice from Gray Piddock, who looks to be making his third and final substitution.
Now, he has looked sharp since he's come on, hasn't he? Cutting them like a knife.
We'll hold off that thought because Gray Piddock appears to have changed his mind. The bib has remained on, and we will not have a substitute. Close rides one challenge, almost rode another. Was given the advantage of a free kick anyway. Panetta saying that's not where it was from. Briggs goes for goal. Allen keeps it in. It was off target in the end anyway. Yeah, interesting from Nick Panetta saying that's not where the ball was, but that's where he flicked it to, so he can't have too many complaints other than admitting that he was kicking the ball away. Anyway, Yaden Prasad linking up well with Smith. Nichols has made a run. Prasad, though, will go wider still to Panetta. Panetta. Shown all
leave the
his
ball
tricks,
behind.
but yeah, you need the ball if you're going to score those fantastic goals, and he left that one right where he didn't want to leave it, in the path of Peninsula Power, and they're going to try to launch an attack now, but look slightly leggy, don't they, Peninsula Power, and then concede possession there to Walker. Panetta, Walker's continued his run. Panetta's inside, Panetta receives the ball back. He'll link up with Walker, will he? He rides a challenge from behind. It is a free kick, and it's a correct decision, I think. Sam Roper going through the back of Nick Panetta.
Yeah, definitely. That was a easy free kick to give. Well won.
Max Brown doing some hamstring stretches just on the edge of the penalty area while he's waiting for this free kick to be delivered by Mitch Nichols. Both teams feeling the effects of what has been a high-intensity match, and there might be plenty more to come. 7 minutes of regulation time remaining. Nichols towards the back post. Reesby came but wasn't convincing. It's crossed back in across the face to the other side of the field. It's 2-on-1 in favour of Knights. Nichols is one of those two. He crosses towards the back post where Oscar Dillon was waiting, and Oscar Dillon is just going to trot back towards his defensive position as that ball runs out.
Wasn't a great ball back in, was it, from Mitch Nichols, to be honest. It was easily dealt with, but that first ball was testing from the free kick, wasn't it?
Certainly was. And Knights still in a promising position here. It's Brown. Gets past one, gets past two, can't get past the third though, and now Peninsula Power will break. Fox doesn't have the pace that he had at the start of the game, that's for sure. Schmidt is dogging him all the way. Offside surely, I think. And that is what our Total Tools assistant over on that far side saw, with Josh Woolley just straying in advance of the last defender. Promising move breaking down, and Peninsula Power in these closing stages need to make the most of these opportunities on the counter-attack. They've been great on the counter-attack so far. How they'll be ruining those missed opportunities from the first half though. Tim Allen will certainly be earning his win bonus today if that is the arrangement. Here's an opportunity now for Yaden Prasad. Prasad has space. He's checked. Nichols is inside and Prasad! Always rising. Prasad holds his head in his hands. He knows how close he was. Nichols had so much space again. It's like he's invisible or something. He just keeps appearing in these promising positions for Gold Coast Knights. Maybe he's invisible to his own teammates as well, because more often than not, they haven't found him with the pass.
They're not. He must be wearing Harry Potter's cape, because they're not finding him out there, but he's got acres and acres of space when he do find him. So he's definitely one to watch.
Woolley sweeps this one in. Dillon's on hand. No invisibility cloak on him. He's always in the right position and has been in this match so far, barring the mistake that led to Peninsula Power's second goal, of course. 2-1 over on that far side.
Yeah, acres of space again, weren't they, over
Schmidt,
there?
the fullback, out of position now. Briggs hoped for a mistake from Dillon. Didn't get one on this occasion.
Well, we don't have too much longer left of regular time. It's looking like it might go to extra time here, and who knows, it may get a penalty shootout again, like we've seen so many of recently, haven't we?
Prasad is coming off, and he's had a fantastic game, although his effectiveness has dropped off a little. The 22-year-old former Brisbane Roar and Hume City player. So he has come off, and he has been replaced by Luke Marsh, who has scored in the FFA Cup this season, scored in the game against Sunshine Coast, a game that Gold Coast Knights won by 3-0 here at the Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre. He's played 10 games without a goal in the National Premier League Queensland. Hasn't played in the league since the end of April, so a return to action for Luke Marsh. And he'll get a few minutes and maybe a few more in order to make his mark in this FFA Cup clash.
Maybe just.
Dillon was closed down by Close, and that was just enough. Welcome to the football. Luke Marsh ends up being sent sprawling by a stray boot by Sam Roper. All legal according to our Total Tools official. Here's Roper now. He's going to get reacquainted with Luke Marsh. Instead plays the ball wide to Woolley. Woolley cuts inside but is dispossessed. Been good since he's come on, has Walker. And Gold Coast Knights are going to attack over on that left-hand side now. Schmidt, lovely pass from Schmidt to Endine. Sorry, it's not Endine, it's Nick Panetta.
I think they've swapped over sides since that substitution happened, so be interesting to see.
Dean's actually come inside. There's been a fair few reorganisation, reshuffles from both coaches as they attempt to discover the winning formula. And any goal now will almost certainly be the winner. Just over 90 seconds of regular time remaining. Smith's there, it's taken off his head by Reesby and almost fell right on the edge of the penalty area for Nick Panetta, I think it was. And now Peninsula Power will break. That's a really good pass. Here's Fox. Close is arriving back post. It doesn't beat Tim Allen though. Safe hands from the tall former City and Ballymena player. And he lays the ball out to the effervescent Jaden Walker. He's been full of energy since he's come on. And it's just been that injection down this right-hand side for Gold Coast Knights that Knights have needed, although there's been plenty of pace injected by Matt Schmidt, and where he's found the energy from, I don't know. 90th minute now of this match. It is still Gold Coast Knights 2, Peninsula Power 2.
Oh, what a ball.
Brown. Smith's arriving! It was the save by the feet of Reesby.
Wow. That was a fantastic, fantastic save. Well read from the keeper. We have seen some exciting stuff. Wow.
Here's Brown again. Picked off that time by Roper. Woolley. Well, that was an awkward challenge from Walker, and it's left Strickland in all sorts of space. Strickland cuts the ball back to the edge of the penalty area where Briggs was waiting, but so too were 4 Gold Coast Knights defenders, all out on their feet. And then how's that for a pass from Walker? I talked him up and he's just made 2 pretty poor mistakes in the last couple of minutes. Sam Smith won't be thanking his right back for that really poor pass because he made the run. We are going to see a substitution. Josh Woolley is coming off, and he's been threatening. He scored the opening goal of the game after some neat work between both he, Briggs and Fox in the penalty area. And that gave Peninsula Power a half-time lead of 1-0. They doubled that advantage in the 47th minute but from Dean Briggs. A poor mistake from Oscar Dillon, who slipped and just allowed Briggs all the time in the world to pick his spot. Tim Allen couldn't do much about that, but made 2 brilliant saves at the end of the first half, and they proved vital as first Sam Smith from the penalty spot and then Oscar Dillon himself managed to score to level things up, and that is how we are in the 90th minute, and there is not that much time remaining at all. The man coming onto the field is Alex Warrilow, the former Redlands United and Sunshine Coast player. Peninsula Power do still have a substitution in hand. They might not need it. Here's Briggs. Briggs is tackled by Mitch Austin, and Mitch Austin may well receive a yellow card for Mitch Austin. Apologies, Mitch Nichols. There is a Mitch Austin. I don't know who he is, but I'm sure he wouldn't have kicked the ball
Mitch
away.
Nichols caught up with Austin Powers.
Mitch Nichols is going to go into the book for kicking the ball away out of frustration. He is the 3rd Gold Coast Knights to enter the book.
Now Briggs can hit these.
Well, this is such a promising position. We've been talking up extra time. Sam Smith wants the free kick taken about 4 metres back. I think it's actually not a bad position at the moment. I'm not sure what Dan Cooner just did then. I don't know if he slipped and attempted to run into Sam Smith.
Now this
referee
is
making the final call as to where this ball is going to be taken. And this free kick is going to be taken from. How many people are you putting in the wall, Andy?
Wow. There's a bit of pushing, there's a bit of shoving going on in there. But look, I've seen Briggs hit these before and definitely can.
Briggs is waiting the sign from the referee. He's just getting his wall back into his position. There's some confusion as to whether the wall is 10 yards from the ball.
A lot of noise coming from the crowd as well, isn't there? The
referee is pacing the wall out again, and the referee was absolutely spot on first time. Bit of gamesmanship from Knights. They take another step forward. The referee is telling them no magic spray anymore. That was a brief experiment. Still, Dean Briggs waits. He's already scored one in this match. Can he seal with what will certainly be the winner? Briggs. Allen saves. It was weak in the end. Fox bumps into Tim Allen, who shrugs him off as if it was a fly. Just bumping into him at the dinner table.
That's it. A lot of anticipation for that.
It was a big build-up, and there was no promise. Absolutely, Andy. We are going to go to extra time. My prediction, by the way, was penalties, and we are still on for that. History repeating itself from 2017. 2017 was the last time that Peninsula Power were in the round of 32. Grey Piddock was also in the round of 32 in 2017, albeit with Gold Coast City. And Andy, what do the players need to do now? There look like some very tired players out there, it has to be said. How do they build themselves back up? Gold Coast Knights had all the running. The momentum did start to wane over the course of that second half, though. And now they really do need to capitalise on perhaps their substitutes. Jaden Walker, who had a bright start, Nick Panetta, who's been absolutely spectacular, and Luke Marsh, whose involvement was minimal in the short amount of time that he had on the field. There's at least one player getting a massage down there away to our left on the sideline as the Total Tools assistants and the referee all come together and have a little conflab as well. There have been a couple of interesting decisions in that half, not least the penalty that allowed Gold Coast Knights to reduce the deficit by 2-1. Sam Smith emphatically smashing home after Nick Panetta went down under the challenge of Richard Hurlin. Or was it a penalty? I think it was soft, but Hurlin did have his hands on Panetta, and therefore as an attacker, you're probably entitled to go down. I'm not sure I like using that phrase, but you are entitled to go down if you feel the challenge, and there certainly was contact.
Definitely. You get touched in the box and you go down, right? Because you get a goal scoring opportunity. So fair enough, you've got to go down, and in that occasion he got the penalty. So this is where the testing tales come, not just for the physical, but also the mental. So it's going to be a very, very interesting time for both teams. See how they can pull through with it.
Well, if you're enjoying this bonus half hour of football, you will enjoy this bonus half hour of football. You have Double Take and Football Queensland to thank for bringing you all the coverage today, and you are going live, of course, as indeed you'd know if you're watching, on the FFA Cup website, the Football Queensland website and Football Gold Coast website. We hope you are enjoying us from wherever you're watching from. And will we have penalties? Something that we spoke about before, Andy. Penalties so intense. Final score in the other match, they haven't needed extra time at Lex Bell Oval, and Moreton Bay United's indifferent season has continued. Surfers Paradise pulling off yet another shock in favour of the Gold Coast teams, running out 3-1 winners. They were a goal down at half time, remember. That is a phenomenal result for Surfers Paradise, and they will meet the winner of Olympic against Palm Beach, that game taking place on Monday at 8 o'clock. Olympic will fancy themselves against Palm Beach, but I bet Moreton Bay United probably fancy themselves down on the coast themselves this Friday night.
Look, they probably did, and I went and watched them in the FFA Cup against Logan Metro in the last round, and look, they weren't crash hot then against Logan Metro, which are obviously a Cat 3 team from the Brisbane League. So it's really interesting to see the Cup, and again we can put it on there, the magic of the Cup, and it's just happened again tonight. Fantastic result for Surfers.
Luke Plummer and Sam Smith just had a bit of a conversation with our Total Tools referee. Mitch Nichols for Gold Coast Knights in the white shirts, kicking from right to left. Will get things underway here in the first half of extra time. When everybody's ready, We're ready now. Nichols goes all the way back to Matt Schmidt. 2-2 the score at the end of the 90 minutes. Will we go to penalties, or will one of these sides find a winner? If they do, it might be due to that man Nick Panetta, who's been absolutely brilliant since he's come on. Here's Sam Smith, shrugs off one tackle, shrugs off another, wins a corner for his team. Bright start for... offside is the call over on the far side of the field. I missed that one. Mitch Nichols blowing up about it was what alerted me to the fact that the flag was up.
Must have had a bit of an intervention there from someone else, right? Intervened.
In a promising position for Gold Coast Knights. Ends up being a little wasted, and it'll be Peninsula Power who perhaps launch the first meaningful attack of this extra time period. Briggs has controlled that better. We could be talking about the end of the match. Indeed, if Panetta had controlled that better. But. And another one, as Ramon Close plays a wayward pass all the way through to the byline, and Tim Allen will take the goal kick for Gold Coast Knights. It's been tight and tense and nervous, and for all money it looked like Peninsula Power were home and hosed when they took a 2-0 lead at the start of the second half. Dean Briggs curling a delightful effort past Tim Allen, who had kept his side in it with two magnificent saves. I got caught between saying magnificent and phenomenal because I wasn't sure which they were. To be honest, they were a bit of both. They were absolutely fantastic saves. I'm sure they'll make some highlights reels over the next few weeks, but he did his best to keep his side in the game. At 2-0 down, though, it looked like his efforts might have been in vain, as Panetta holds the ball up again and uses his intelligence to play the ball back to Schmidt. Schmidt crossfield to Dillon. Dillon with the touch to take it round Warrilow, the substitute. Forward this time by Walker. Inside to Mitch Nichols. Here's Panetta. Wide to Schmidt, and the ball's in! It's Mitch Nichols! It's his first goal for Gold Coast Knights!
What a first goal to have! Unbelievable football, all the way from the back, across sides. That was just fantastic, and what a finish there as well. Wow.
Absolutely emphatic from Mitch Nichols. We've been saying that he should have scored, or at least had more attempts in that regulation time, particularly in the first half when he had a number of opportunities on the edge of the penalty area. But that was absolutely glorious football from Gold Coast Knights at their very, very best when they move the ball around like that. Absolutely unstoppable stuff. And then Mitch Nichols, as I've mentioned, hasn't scored yet for Gold Coast Knights. He has now. The 30-year-old from Southport might well have just put Gold Coast Knights into the 7th round of the FFA Cup.
I'm in disbelief. I cannot believe we've just seen that fantastic build-up with a finish. That was just absolutely fantastic. We were all excited for this game, and we have not been disappointed by any means. This has been absolutely sensational. And here we go again.
Here's Sam Smith now. He's up against Janchevsky. Janchevsky goes back to Reesby, and Reesby hammers that one forward. What have Peninsula Power got left? 50-50 collision here, and Kuna has got the better of by Schmidt, who was instrumental in scoring that goal. Here's Smith. Nichols again on the edge of the penalty area. He checks. Nichols gets the ball back. Will he make it two and safe? Too long in making the shot. He gets a corner though for his team. And all of a sudden, Gold Coast Knights look venomous every time they get the ball.
Don't they just? I mean, and it's fantastic for them just to keep going attack, because what can happen after you score a goal is you sit back, you become vulnerable. So they haven't. They've gone straight back at Peninsula Power, and they're just showing that we're in this game and we want to win it.
When Greg Piddock reached the quarterfinals with Gold Coast City in 2017, he had a very strong Gold Coast City side. You'd have to say this Gold Coast Knights side is far the better of that. And a real opportunity for him with a favourable draw as the ball's pinballing around. It's hammered clear, but only up in the air. It's going to come back in, is it? Still there for Knights, but eventually Power scramble it clear through Tom Strickland, but the pace will still be in this match, and it'll be all Gold Coast Knights doing the running at the moment. The supporters away to our left are in song. Enjoying life a lot more now than they were at the 47th minute mark of this match, when their side conceded their second goal and went 2-0 down as Dean Briggs wins a free kick. If anyone can make a difference in the remaining moments of this match, it's him.
Unbelievable stuff, isn't it? That was another golden opportunity, and again you would like to see those rustle the back of the net, but unfortunately not in this case. But Gold Coast Knights, they seem to have the adrenaline now, don't they, going through their blood.
Neat football. Strickland playing the ball inside to Briggs. A lot of space on this near side now. Fairgrieve now close can't get on the end of it. Kuna will though. Kuna twisting and turning to get away from Sam Smith. Looked like he left Plummer short there, but Plummer does receive the ball and plays it all the way out to the far side of the field. It's fired in and Tim Allen will composedly gather that one. There's some stretches being done by Dean Briggs in the penalty area. His hamstrings struggling after not playing for the majority of this season. Hasn't played since the end of last season, other than the 2 games that he's managed in the last couple of weeks. Victory against Moreton Bay United by 3-1 and the defeat against Lions by 2-1 last weekend.
Just wonder the mental strength now that Peninsula Power have to have, obviously after going 2-0 up, to now be losing it by 3-2. It takes a lot of mental capacity to come back from that.
Look at the effort from Nichols here. He made the run. He was onside when that ball was played, and the appealing glances from Sam Roper in particular were because he was caught out. And you have to admire the effervescence of Mitch Nichols, 30 years old, and he's running faster and further than all of the youngsters, and it's been really impressive to see. Some people might suggest that coming down from the A-League into the National Premier Leagues, some of these players, they might not have the same desire that some of these younger players have to make their mark, but you could not level that accusation at Mitch Nichols. He has been absolutely spectacular, and he has been so instrumental in this entire match for Gold Coast Knights. He was less effective in that first half, in which Gold Coast Knights did trail by 1-0 and then shortly conceded after the break to make it 2. But since getting back into the match, thanks to the introduction of Nick Panetta and him winning the penalty that Sam Smith converted, he has been absolutely fantastic and deserves all the plaudits for that. He's been brilliant.
Hasn't he just? And I tell you what, it's a magnificent thing for us to be able to witness and watch a player from his calibre coming down and playing in these leagues, and not just hanging up the boots per se, but playing here in the leagues and still doing an absolutely fantastic job. Like you've said, you feel like he's just come off the bench, wouldn't you, for this extra time? It looks that fresh.
Just helps all the other players rise to that level as well around him, and they learn so much from him. We saw him explaining things to teammates Yaden Prasad and indeed Nick Panetta as well in this second half, where he's just been explaining different things and making sure different things. And look at the man now in the middle, shaking his head over the current play. He wants the ball at his feet. He wants to be able to control his own destiny. He's unable to do that though, as Fox has the ball. And now all of a sudden Alex Warrilow does. Warrilow trying to play the ball through towards Kuna. Kuna has the ball in the penalty area. It's Nichols back again. Kuna goes down. It's off the head of Matt Schmidt, who has been fantastic. A corner for Peninsula Power.
Wow. I know I've said wow a few times now in this game, but it has just left me speechless. It is absolutely fantastic. And a corner, always threatening, isn't it, for these Gold Coast Knights defenders.
Warrilow will deliver this one in. It's a good ball. It was Plummer who made the attempt. There's furious protestations from the Peninsula Power players.
That's a bad head knock, that one, by the looks. It did not look.
Yeah, Oscar Dillon doesn't
healthy.
go down without reason and without due cause, and he is in all sorts of pain there, and the referee had absolutely no choice but to blow the whistle as soon as he realised it was a head knock. And despite the protestations of the Peninsula Power players, it is the right call, and it's the only safe call that you can make.
100%, and I mean, look, we could say it's in the extra time. They're a goal up. Maybe he's going down to try and win some time, but I definitely don't think that's the case. I actually think he got a big knock there, and fair play to the referee, and He was seeing if they had the ball to go for a counter-attack, but they didn't. It went to Peninsula Power, and they've just brought it back. So absolutely fair play from the Total Tools official.
Don't forget, you can follow Football Queensland on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook for all the latest football news and events across the state. Find us at FootballQLD on Instagram and Twitter, and just search for Football Queensland on Facebook and YouTube. While you're there, you may as well check out the website, footballqueensland.com.au, all the latest National Premier League's Queensland, National Premier League's Women's Queensland and Football Queensland Premier League news and views from around the state, and of course all the other community news as well. So make sure you check out the website. Great content on there at the moment, footballqueensland.com.au.
If anyone was following the Facebook page and the Instagrams last weekend, they would have seen myself in Weeper, which is obviously 2,800 kilometres away from us here now at the other end of Queensland, coaching some mini-roos there, which was absolutely fantastic opportunity for myself. I had to get on 2 planes to get there, so it was, for me coming from England, it was a bit different, but it was absolutely brilliant to see the energy and enthusiasm they put into the game there to make it sure kids have the opportunity to play football. So thanks for everything they do out that way as well.
Been on your travels a fair bit since joining Football Queensland, this Mini-Roos development officer, haven't you, Andy?
I certainly have.
Nichols takes the ball over on that far side. Nichols looking to twist and turn and find an opening to play the ball back inside. He does so, but it takes a deflection on its way. Still there for the Knights, though. Close, tried to close that ball down, but was unable to do so. Knights go all the way back to Tim Allen. Allen's just going to launch this one as far as he can, and he gets plenty of meat on that.
Doesn't he just? Saw him winding back for that one, didn't you? Wow.
Good,
he launched it.
70, 80 metres, that one.
Yeah.
It's the moon, a bright orange moon, just emerges from behind the clouds over on the coast. Carrara Stadium, Gold Coast Suns home ground and home of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games as well. Sam Smith is offside if he attempts to get towards that ball. Advantage will be played as Smith diverts his attentions, put it that way. There's a beautiful moon coming up now. It's casting its gaze over proceedings where Gold Coast Knights have come from 2 goals down to lead in extra time by 3-2 against Peninsula Power, the league leaders.
Hasn't it been a magnificent game?
It's been brilliant, but Peninsula Power, they're facing their second defeat in as many games, and well, it's been a fair amount of time since the last time they tasted defeat in any competition anyway.
Gold Coast Knights to me look like a classier outfit right now. They're very composed on the ball and very experienced they're looking.
Here's Brown. Kuna does well. A little bit untidy, but Kuna did really well in the end. He needed a little bit of support, but got there in the end. Lovely touch from Briggs. Kuna has been more involved in extra time and towards the latter stages of regulation. Close. He's just not managed to get a foothold in this game at all, has Ramon Close. Not like Nick Panetta, who's been absolutely electric. He goes over the challenge of Kuna. That's one for Smith to challenge. The 2 captains coming together. Here's Close. Can he make his intervention count when required? Early cross. Warrilow has another attempt, but this time it ends up right at the feet of Tim Allen, and Fox can't muster a challenge. Sorry, it's not Fox, it's Tom Strickland. Sorry, it's not even Tom Strickland, it's Tim Briggs. It's extra time. I need some coffee.
It's a late one too, isn't it? So, tell you what, the referees are definitely getting their money's worth tonight, aren't they, out there? And it's not exactly the warmest of nights here on the Gold Coast, is it?
It's got a bit chilly. I've had to put my second layer on, it has to be said. Here's Nichols, who's looked red hot all day. Just overrun it slightly there, did the Knights, and then that's unfortunate. Close hammering that into the back of his own teammate Sam Roper. Mitch Nichols picks up possession. Lovely from Panetta. Here's an opportunity for Schmidt. Where's his energy come from? That was so close from Schmidt.
It must have got a deflection on the way through. It's gone out for a corner. Fantastic.
Matt Schmidt has scored in both FFA Cup games for Gold Coast Knights so far this season against Sunshine Coast and Sunshine Coast Wanderers, as well as scoring twice in the league against Strikers and Olympic, of course, a fortnight ago. So the Rockhampton-born former Raw youth player does know how to find the back of the net and was oh so close to doing so there. Just a deflection taking it the wrong side from a Gold Coast Knights perspective. Nichols to Panetta. Panetta sweeps this one into Smith. It's taken off his head by Reesby. Hasn't looked wholly convincing, Reesby, in those situations, but has managed to do enough to get the ball off the head of Sam Smith. And you have to say that's a feat in itself, because Sam Smith is a giant and he's an imposing presence on the edge of the penalty area and on the edge of a 6-yard box like that. Was there a little nudge there? No, says the assistant. No, says the referee. Dean Briggs. Briggs up against Dean. Briggs does really well, tries to release Fox. Warrilow putting the pressure on. We're in added time at the end of the first half of extra time. There'll only be a minute or so of it, just probably due to the injury to Oscar Dillon. This throw is going to come in long. I haven't seen too many of them today. It's flicked on. It's almost at the foot of Kuna. What a let-off. Kuna tries to hide himself in his own jersey. Not quite sure it's warranted for that yet. And what an opportunity, and another coming in from the corner now. Here's Warrilow.
Wow.
There's players on their knees, none in the penalty area though. Swept in, close was at the near post. It's helped away, and that'll be all she wrote, will it, at the end of this first half of extra time? No, we still have time to play on, and it'll be another long throw. Caused havoc in a few moments ago, the first instance. Every single man in a white shirt is in his own penalty area. It's pinballing around. Is that a panball? No, it's not. It's fired in, but well wide of the target by Alex Warrilow. We almost jumped off the stanchion here in excitement there, unduly as it turns out, but Warrilow pulled the trigger and unfortunately didn't have his sights aligned at all, and it flies well wide of Tim Allen's goal, and you'd have to say that's probably all we're going to see in the first half of extra time, but promising signs for Peninsula Power. This game is not done yet.
It's far from over, isn't it? But yeah, it's looking like this first half of extra time is over. We'll see how long the Total Tools official wants to play on for, but there we go.
Another second after you said it, Andy. So that is the score, and for the first time, the first break, that Gold Coast Knights are leading this contest. They trailed at half-time by a goal to nil. They managed to pull it back to 2-2 at the end of regulation. And now they lead by 3 goals to 2. Mitch Nichols, his first goal for Gold Coast Knights in this stint at least.
May just be a Gold Coast hero, right?
May have just written himself into the books for Gold Coast Knights. They did make the round of 32 last season, as we've already mentioned on a couple of occasions. Gray Piddock has made the round of 32 on a couple of occasions now, more than a couple of occasions, certainly the last 2 seasons. And made it all the way to the quarterfinals in 2017 with Gold Coast City. They beat Western Knights in that first game from Western Australia, and then in the Piddock derby, Adam Piddock, Moreton Bay United were overcome in a dramatic tie up at Walter Park in 2017 before the ill-fated match against South Melbourne, which they lost by 6 goals to 0. As things stand, we of course won't be needing penalties, but as Peninsula Power showed at the end of that first half, there's still plenty of life in this match yet, and you'd have to say you may well see another goal in this one. I wouldn't put it past these two teams to score another goal, it has to be said.
I wouldn't put it past them either. I tell you what, it's been an absolute scorcher of a match so far, and they're both showing great heart, great fight, great desire, which is everything we want to see in a cup run. And obviously they're being tested, not just physically but mentally now, and like I said before, for Peninsula Power, they really are getting tested mentally, obviously coming off the back of a loss in their National Premier League here in Queensland, but can they come back from being 2-0 up to now going back to 2-2 and now 3-2 down? Can they come back and get another goal to take it to penalties, or even 2 to take the win?
Sam Roper has been withdrawn Trent McAvoy coming on in his place, a 30-year-old. We'll see what impact he can have in the final 15 minutes of this one. It will be Peninsula Power in the red, kicking things off from right to left when we do eventually get started, just sinking some watches. Mitch Nichols not overly impressed with the delay. And we do get things underway once again. And Peninsula Power will go straight onto the attack, but it's cut off by Panetta. Was there a hint of a hand involved? Certainly according to the visiting bench, but it's not being given. Oh, that's a lovely touch by Dean Briggs. Briggs still has possession. He's being closed down, though, by a multitude of white-shirted defenders. Strickland gets past one challenge. Can't get past the attentions of Mitch Nichols, though. Nichols will hammer that one forward towards Smith. Smith tries to use his body, but that was well dealt with by Chris Janchevsky. What a challenge for the 22-year-old from the Sunshine Coast against Sam Smith, a striker of his quality and his power.
He's got massive physical attributes to his game, doesn't he, Sam Smith? But they've handled him extremely well out the back there of the defence.
Oh, we might have an injury down there. It was an awkward fall. I'm quite sure who it was. Didn't quite see the number, and maybe it's just cramp, but it was awkward. You do worry in those situations whether or not it's a knee.
Yeah.
And we did see Gold Coast Knights against Olympic a fortnight ago go down to 10 men, and they were still trailing by 3-2. So in an opposite situation to the one they find themselves in now, this referee just lets everybody know that he will be adding this time on. As Peninsula Power get ready to launch a long throw in. Even Jake Reesby is coming forward from the goal line, so you'd have to hope that there's no quick transition from Gold Coast Knights.
Well, you were telling me before in a cup game that you played that you managed to score a goal from your own hands in goal, weren't you?
So I claimed it.
So could this happen here with the goalkeeper stepping so far forward?
We've seen long-range goals scored in the National Premier League Queensland. Plenty of occasions. I think I've called 2 goals from inside their own half in the last couple of years, so it would be nice to see one, that's for sure.
Oh, wouldn't it just?
Spare a thought for the real victims of this extra time. It looks like our half-time snack's been eaten by by one of our assistants here.
Media team just enjoying. They basically teased us, didn't they, by putting the hot chips down there for us, but we couldn't eat because we're talking, and now they're just going and eating them in front of us. So that's just lovely from the Football Queensland media team.
It's been a lengthy delay,
but we did have a nice cupcake at half-time, didn't we?
An FFA cupcake, perhaps.
It's
Hoffman who has just got himself to his feet, and that'll be a real concern for Gold Coast Knights, although we are seeing a substitution.
Obviously,
Danny Morton coming on, an extra substitution being added in extra time. It's into a dangerous area. It'll be another corner, or a corner this time. Those throw-ins have the necessity of being a corner because they're so direct and right into the middle of the box, but it took a touch off a Gold Coast head. We'll have another go.
Bit of pushing and shoving going on in the box there, but Gold Coast do not want to let Penn Power get in there. Ooh.
It's a difficult one for Tim Allen, but he answers that question fairly comfortably, it has to be said. High above his head, claiming that ball, and chooses to go slowly and give the ball off to Adam and Dean. Nice little touch there.
Lovely
Running
footwork there, wasn't
really
it?
good footwork. You don't want to get caught in possession in those positions, but when it pays off, it does look good and gets the oars from the crowd. Nichols has so much space again. Marsh putting back on himself, has no support, takes it into the corner, a long way from time to be starting to do that, but he's doing pretty well, and wins a corner for his troubles as well.
Fantastic. That's just showing a little bit of experience there. Going into the corner, it is extra time. Obviously a long time to go yet. They could still get another goal, and so could Peninsula Power, but obviously they've won a corner for the team, and interesting to see how they line up for this one.
Certainly not committing as many men forward as Peninsula Power were. 5 men outside the box. Sam Smith is the worth of 2 or 3. Panetta! not far away at all, and it did take a touch on its way through, perhaps from Reesby. It was always rising. I think it was always going over the top. I'd have to have another look at that, but that is one hell of an effort from Nick Panetta, whose performance only is missing a goal, really. He's been fantastic. The head again, it's just wide of the target. That was absolutely fantastic. Well, yes, it was a good save, in fact, from Reesby. Did get two hands to it. That's another fine save that we can add to our collection from today's FFA Cup clash. No nonsense defending. It's hammered upfield. Mitch Nichols will go to the corner. He's been directed to by his teammates. Dan Cooner up against him. Nichols wins a throw-in. I've mentioned it on a couple of occasions, and I know the stakes are high, but I really don't like it when teams take the ball into the corner.
It's a tough one, isn't it? You want to keep playing football, but again...
But it's professional,
They want to win the game, don't they? We've seen it at the highest of highest levels, and we continue to do so, but if Peninsula Power get the ball, then all it takes is a quick counter-attack. We've seen that already. And I'd imagine they'd be kicking themselves, Peninsula Power, as they just didn't finish the opportunities that they had. They could have been 3-0 up in the first half, and unfortunately they couldn't, pounce on those opportunities, and they see themselves 3-2 down.
Jesse Gibbs is the only substitute available to Aaron Phillip, and it does look like Jesse Gibbs will come on. He's going to come on in place of James Fairgrieve. Jesse Gibbs making his first senior appearance of the season for Penn Power. He's a youngster formerly at Brisbane City. Talented goal scorer. He certainly knows how to hit the back of the net. Struggled with fitness a little bit in his time at Brisbane City in the under-20s, part of the under-20s team that did win the National Premier League's Queensland under-20s Premiership and Championship double last season. So he's a player of high quality.
It's great to see the youngsters come through as well, isn't it, that have played NPL in the under-20s, under-16s and so on. So good to get an opportunity here on the national stage.
Brisbane City, a good nursery for young talent. The work being done there by the team, led by Tom Laxton, technical director. Doing a fantastic job as Mitch Nichols is bundled off the ball. He wins the ball back, though, by his teammates, and then wins a throw-in for his team as well. Mitch Nichols going for a little run, palms the ball off to Jaden Walker, who continues on his little walk down the sideline. To the feet of Sam Smith. A safe haven if ever there was one. Oh, lovely flick, and a little bit too clever from Luke Marsh.
He even tricked his own teammate, didn't he? Did not expect that to pull that one out there. That was just marvellous.
The flicks and tricks have been absolutely fantastic from both teams today. It's been an incredibly high quality contest.
Haven't they just? It's been nice 1-2 touches as well. It's been great little triangles, diamonds they've been creating, and the game just opened up from that, and we saw that with Gold Coast's obviously goal in the extra time.
Yeah, an absolutely superb finish. Here's Smith. Can he make it 4? It's a teasing ball. It was just a good touch from Reesby, and somehow Peninsula Power escaped to fight another day. They are still in this fight. Dan Cooner taking the ball upfield.
Wow, how was that not rustling the back of the net? The keeper made a bit of a mistake.
Fox, it's aimed towards Briggs at the back post, and then Briggs a little bit haphazardly crashes into the back of Jaden Walker and is fortunate not to be penalised. It is a corner to Peninsula Power. Another opportunity for the visitors to get a goal back and force penalties. They needed a late goal against Brisbane City in the previous round, and up comes Jake Reesby. Bit late, he's not making much of an impact of the head. The corner flies off towards the goal by Luke Plummer. But it was a bit of a wasted effort
back there, and just decided to run up because he wasn't going in with any intent there, was he, into the middle of the box.
Well, you contrast that with when Tim Allen came up for a penalty, for a corner or a free kick, I think it was, in the latter stages of the game against Olympic that Gold Coast Knights managed to snatch a draw from. He just came with intent, and just his wearing a different colour just caused all sorts of problems at the back, and that allowed that fantastic goal to be scored by Gold Coast Knights and maintain their unbeaten run in the league. That ball is hammered into our stanchion. That'll test the foundations of it.
At least we know this is a sturdy platform there, don't we?
naming no names, that some platforms wouldn't have survived without being hit by a ball with that ferocity. Fox. Briggs.
He's in a lot of pain, isn't he, Briggs?
He's just struggling for fitness, and this is only his third game of the season.
Seems to be holding his groin as well. I'm not sure what he's done there, but he's
just stretching it out. You're right.
You would hate for him to have another injury, wouldn't you, after just coming back from a not so good one. And the player he is, he's absolutely brilliant and can change a game in a second. So let's hope it's not a bad injury.
Audacious effort from Panetta. Not far away at all.
What's the ball moving then? That's an interesting one, because obviously we can't have the ball move in the All State.
I think they're allowed to let that one go. Panetta's going to have another opportunity here. It was a poor pass across the face. Panetta's still on the ground. It's scrappy at the back now by Peninsula Power. Both teams have given absolutely everything over the preceding 115 minutes of action. We've just got 5 minutes to go, and it is Gold Coast Knights with the ball exactly where they want it, in their opponent's corner.
Look at that.
Really impressive play from Gold Coast Knights. They have worked so hard in order to come back and win this game, showing fantastic tenacity and resilience. And last week the Gold Coast media team gave the man of the match to the entire team. Sorry, a fortnight ago gave the player of the match to the entire team for their efforts against Olympic. I don't think I'd give it to the entire team this time. I think there's two standout contenders, Tim Allen and Mitch Nichols, for me. I'll leave you to have the deciding vote, and Ian will give you a couple of minutes to think about that as well. But it's been an absolutely fantastic contest, but it's not over yet. Offside is the call.
Definitely. I think the only other person I'd add into that mix is their number 10, is it Max Brown? I think he's been absolutely sensational in ticking that centre midfield as well. So they've all tied together really, really well.
Panetta brushes aside Jesse Gibbs. Gibbs back to his feet and does really well to steal possession back. Gibbs needs to get this ball upfield. Gives it off to teammate Tom Strickland. Strickland looking to spread the play out wide to the right-hand side. And then Brenton Fox. Known close, just not on the same wavelength at all on that occasion. Smith using his strength to hold the ball up. Nichols just comes away limping from that contest. Nichols frustrated as to why there were no players chasing that ball down. Nichols is still limping. He wants his players to help carry the load, because he looks to be in a spot of bother at the moment.
Doesn't he just? He's really, really sore now. We see there. He'll be waiting for that final whistle. If they can hold on, he's obviously going to give everything he's got, but he's looking a bit brisk.
2.5 minutes remaining plus stoppage time. Nichols limping away on the edge of the area. Here's an opportunity perhaps for Gibbs. It's just got away from him though, and Gold Coast would want to put this ball up into a less threatening position, but it's given away by Marsh, and an opportunity perhaps. No, it's going to come straight back. Strickland, Gibbs. Gibbs plays that off the side of the head of Max Brown, and that ball is hammered clear as to the best of his ability.
There's a few tired minds, tired bodies out there now, and you can hear the experience of the Gold Coast Knights trying to rev them up.
Runcheski caused problems last time. Gone across to the far side of the field, and Briggs is going to help this one in. It's off the head of Cooner, and there were three players in an attacking position alongside Cooner, and he couldn't find either of them, instead attempting to beat Tim Allen with what would have been a miraculous header. And time well and truly running down now, less than 90 seconds remaining. The clock is ticking on Peninsula Power's FFA Cup season. And can they make sure of it here with Nick Panetta? He's going to play the ball out wide to Walker! Oh! Walker finishes it for Gold Coast Knights. There'll be no way back for Peninsula Power now. And that is game, set and match for the Knights. Much to the delight of the crowd here. They have shown fantastic tenacity to come from 2 goals down, and now they lead this game by 4 goals to 2. Jaden Walker putting the cherry on top of a fantastic FFA Cup cake.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, that was, again, fantastic counter-attacking. He's done really, really well since he's come on the park, and he's just topped it off with a goal, hasn't he? So, well done, Gold Coast Knights, for their efforts. Coming back from 2-0 is never, ever, ever easy, and they've just done it, shown their mental strength as a team and experience that they've all got. Absolutely credit goes to them.
It's his first goal of the season. He only scored 1 in 27 appearances across 2 seasons for Gold Coast City. The last time he was in the National Premier League's Queensland, former Raw youth player from 2014, and he has recovered pretty well from that shoulder injury he suffered against Olympic that put his side down and on the ropes. Fans are starting to leave in their droves. They're the home supporters. You'd think they'd want to celebrate their team's victory, but they are content in this 2-goal cushion. Well, it might end up just being 1 if this ball comes across to Dan Cooner and he can squeeze it in towards Briggs. Cooner's going to try and do it all himself, ill-advisedly perhaps, because Jaden Walker is back doing his duty at the defensive end of the pitch as well as at the attacking end.
Hasn't he just done well since he's come on, Walker? I tell you what, very, very impressive.
Well, the link-up between he and Panetta to score that goal was absolutely fantastic, and a free kick goes in favour of the hosts, and they'll be in no hurry to take that. Tim Allen looks absolutely rooted to the spot.
Concrete in his boots, as he doesn't want to walk up to this one in any rush whatsoever. Take it nice and slow, and to be honest, can we blame him? Gold Coast Knights supporters' voices in full throttle now, aren't they, as they're celebrating what seems to be, or what we can only say will be, their win now at 4-2.
They're in fine voice, and they deserve to be so. Their team deserve them to be so, because they have been absolutely fantastic in coming back from 2 goals down. They have booked a date back here at the Croatian Sports Centre against Brisbane Strikers for the chance to go through to the national rounds. From Gold Coast Knights' perspective, for the 2nd season in a row, it's been the 3rd season in a row for Gray Piddick. That is all we've seen here at the Croatian Sports Centre in Carrara. A fantastic game, a full-blooded FFA Cup contest, and it's been Gold Coast Knights who've come out on top against Peninsula Power. They have beaten the league leaders in the National Premier League's Queensland and have booked their spot against Brisbane Strikers, themselves victors tonight against Redlands United in the league competition. They beat Easts in the 6th qualification round last week. But a fantastic contest. Andy Allen, let's just get your final thoughts.
Absolutely unbelievable. Well, I can say we can take a breath now. We'll be needing it, won't we? Obviously, a long drive back to Brisbane for yourself, and you'll need all the respite you can get, because this has just been end-to-end stuff, full go all the time. And I tell you what, a credit to the players out there. They've managed to last the whole time. Fantastic work. I'm left speechless. What a game that was. We've just seen an absolutely incredible cup tie, and I'll say it one more time, but that is the magic of the cup for me.
Mitch Nichols absolutely superb in victory for the Gold Coast Knights, as was Tim Allen. Lest we forget that Tim Allen really kept his side in it at 1-0 at the half, because he pulled off 2 miraculous saves in that first half to keep the scoreline at 1-0 as opposed to letting it go out to 3, and that proved vital in the end. Also, fair credit to Sam Smith, who worked hard up front all day and did get his goal from the penalty spot. Jaden Walker and Nick Panetta, spectacular off the bench. Plenty of good performers for Peninsula Power as well. Dan Cooner really grew into the game. Chris Janchevsky gave Sam Smith a real hard time of it as well. Dean Briggs was spectacular. Brenton Fox worked hard all night too. Lots of stories to come out of that one, and the football just doesn't stop here in Queensland, or indeed across the entire state of, and indeed entire Australia. The conference, the IFCA conference, sold out IFCA conference, will take place this weekend here on the Gold Coast. Fantastic job being done by everyone involved there to get that that event sorted and get that event organised. You'll be down there, Andy. I may well be in attendance as well, and I'm looking forward to getting down and checking that out too. Lots to talk about there, lots of fantastic speakers, and I'm sure a lot of the talk will be about this game here tonight, and indeed the other match in the FFA Cup where Surfers Paradise Apollo have beaten Moreton Bay United by 3-1, having come from a goal down themselves. So plenty of comeback action in the FFA Cup. The inquest is going on at the moment for Peninsula Para. It doesn't get any easier for them. They take on a resurgent Brisbane City at Corporate Travel Management Stadium next up in the league. For the National Premier League's Queensland, every game, of course, live streamed across the season. But our match of the round, for round 18, will be back down here on the Gold Coast, further down at Coplex in Talabudra. Gold Coast United taking on Easts. I'll be on the call for that one as well, Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. So, excellent night here in Carrara. I've been Simon Smale. Andy Allen has been alongside me. Thank you very much for joining me. This has been a double take production for Football Queensland and the FFA Cup. We hope you join us next time on the Football Queensland live stream. And congratulations to both teams on what was a spectacular game. Enjoy your Friday night and enjoy your weekend of football.